What the fuck?
That's the opposite of what it's supposed to function for. Okay.
Hold on. Give me 1 second.
I want some plumita. You quiero plumita.
Oh.
Okay, we ready, baby?
All right, good.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this next segment of Combat Libre, a sub-segment of the SNP podcast group. Here we started off today with some of the usuals.
What
There's
up?
Dave Sir P. Ooh,
I don't know what I'm doing.
Your code name is?
What's that?
What is the name of the blue?
I can't see shit out of this mask. I'm sorry.
This will probably end with all of us really sweaty and
Sweating
breathing
balls.
hard at the end.
I already want to take my hat off. It's getting too hot.
Sounds like
And
every
our
weekend.
I know, right? He's got like the least of it. And our very faithful companion here, Ivan, on the side.
The intellectual Ivan.
Yeah. And fucking Kevin, aka Young Jaime here on the
Yo,
side.
what's up, baby?
Bringing
AKA
us the
Filipino
info.
Fire.
Oh,
Me llamo
Filipino
Jaime.
Me llamo Jaime. Me gusta.
Benny.
Combat Libre.
sorry.
Jesus. Jumping the gun here. But let's talking to jumping the gun. Let's get right on it, man. Holloway versus Edgar. How did you guys feel about that? Did you guys see that?
Está bien, güey.
Did you see it live?
I saw it that night. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fucking crazy, dude.
It was crazy.
I was really worried for Max Holloway going into this fight. His weight cut looked really shitty, man. He looked like he was on death's door. Like cheeks were all sunken in and everything.
You look like doo-doo.
Yeah, he did. And then especially after that last fight with Dustin, he looked a little sluggish. So I was
Dustin
kinda
Poirier?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was cutting weight to make 155.
Yeah, I know, and so I'm like, oh shit. Like, hopefully we'll see what's gonna happen. Either he's gonna hit a new level, or like, he might need to like jump up in weight or something. I don't know.
I mean, overall, the fight, it wasn't that surprising to me. I mean, he went in there being a favorite for the match. I did feel like, I really think that Edgar took a couple rounds off of him. I didn't think he took all the rounds. I think maybe at best he took a round from him, but I don't think it was like decisive. I don't think it was like that. It was definitely a 10-9. It wasn't like a 10-8, anything substantial. But it's everyone was pretty.
I thought he did. Frankie Edgar was doing like he was fighting till the last goddamn round, man. I mean, like Max Holloway was edging him out every single round, but even then he's so good at those like flurries. Like he would just boom, 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 run in and like throw all these combinations, and like his cardio was amazing, dude.
Guaranteed.
He was really I was impressed.
When he throws a sling of combos like that, and we've seen that multiple times. So he'll throw like just like a double jab, hit like hook into another hook, and he lands every single one of them in succession. It makes him look like a god in there.
Yeah.
And I mean that's what leaves like a lot of people questioning like what's left for him at that weight. At that weight class.
A lot of people were saying that he should jump down because he looked really small for that weight class. I mean, like size wise, he looked small, and they were saying like he should go down in weight. And I was like, dude, before this, I was like, if he wins, I would love to see him fight Henry Cejudo for like to do something with that. But I mean, even then, I still want to see that.
So
fight.
even then, like when Joe Rogan like commented on him afterwards, I don't know if you saw the post-fight interview, but
dude,
he was not. It didn't look like he was that happy that he brought up 135 to him.
Oh, I didn't see that.
No, he said he's like a lot of people. Yeah,
Frankie?
I mean, it could have been
face with that, Joe.
He didn't say anything of that in that sense, but you could see the look of when he's looking down, like, oh god, this shit again.
Well,
Here we
they've
go.
always said that his entire career, and then he became the champion, so they kind of had to stop saying that. But he's always competed. He's never been the bigger guy, or even fought somebody really the same size as him, and he's won. I don't know if maybe it would be weird to see him fight somebody actually his size like Cejudo.
I know, because he's always fought guys that were bigger than him too.
Yeah, I mean, what about like if you were to introduce him to that weight class, what if you brought him back and then made like Dominic Cruz fight with him?
Ooh. Or fucking Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
though Cruz seems still big, but yeah, he fights at a smaller weight class. That actually makes sense. That's what I think his coach said he should be fighting, and I think they even mentioned Dominic Cruz, guys like him.
Yeah,
that weight
I mean,
class.
imagine the footwork in that shit.
Yeah, dude.
Just
be like-
just like breakdancing.
Like watching ping pong, you're like just looking both ways.
Oh, looking both
they're
ways.
just moving around. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, overall, the Holloway fight for the next fight. I mean, I feel like what everyone's trying to push is going to be Volkanovski, right?
Dude, that's gonna be a really hard fight for him, man.
I will love that fight. I mean, that guy is shorter, but he looks like the bigger, stronger guy. His record is really good. And he just went through Jose and Chad Mendez.
And he fucking like pieced them up and shit.
Yeah,
dude.
and I think didn't he cut weight to make weight just in case? Like I love his hunger. That's what.
Yeah,
people can
he was
see.
there. Yeah.
So that's such an exciting fight. The last time I doubted Max Holloway was when he fought Brian Ortega, and he made me think like I should have never doubted him. But I'm
Right.
beginning to almost doubt him again because this Volkanovski guy.
I know, isn't it funny? He keeps winning. I mean, he only lost that Dustin Poirier fight, and yet every single fight that he goes, for me, it's the weight cut. I just see how he looks so shitty in that weight cut that I'm like, God damn, I don't see how he's gonna do good.
In the meantime,
then he
bring up
fucking kills it.
Volkanovski and his record real quick. But referencing that same weight cut scenario, like I really feel like a lot of people were making commentary on Holloway entering the arena. I know that I don't know if you saw that, but he was walking in. He's kind of has
How do
a
you
little
spell
bit
his
of a
name?
Oh yeah, into the.
Volkanovski. How do you spell his name?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Volk.
ANOV.
David, take it
Ski.
from there.
Ski.
All right.
I was close.
If you pull up his record, I'd like to see who he fought, like brand names.
Or like his record.
Yeah,
It's a really clean record.
it's really.
They're
clean.
trying to say that they're trying to do a quick turnaround with Max Holloway, which is insane.
Yeah.
Because he's already had how many fights this year? He's had a couple.
3.
Yeah, and then they're trying to say that they're trying to add him to the Australia card
Oh yeah.
because Volkanovski's like what? Is he Australian or New Zealand? What's the difference?
I think it's Australian. That's Australian.
Hey, man.
Hey man.
Yeah, so that's gonna be, dude. It's gonna be I mean, I don't know. That's gonna be a good fight for sure.
You
But
pop
I feel
that on
bad
the
for Max
screen,
Holloway, man.
Can you pop that on the screen?
It's right here.
Oh, it's right there. Never mind. So back to the Holloway thing. But I mean, he's been he walked in. He was like limping, like you said, and he was kind of walking slow and kind of a little bit dead-eyed, like staring forward.
Yeah, that was weird.
And it was really weird. And then Conor McGregor made a comment that it was like when 2 people have died in boxing this last week, like only a fighter knows what it is to like really come into a fight essentially ready to die.
Yeah, like you were saying, like they should have been more careful because he was coming in and he was, what is going on here?
Live technical support.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, either way, I think this really makes this weight class exciting. This Volkanovski guy, because people were sort of saying that Max was cleaning out the division, and now I'm just really excited.
So there was no contenders
There was no
in the
contenders, and he emerged within the last year as someone really exciting. So that's who I want to see Max fight. Frankie, I would either want to see him fight Uriah Faber, maybe because they want to do him and Cejudo. So maybe having those 2 guys fight. But if he stays at 145, then maybe McGregor makes sense. But that fight, I don't know.
Hit a complete fight history on that. So he's 20-1, right? Who's his loss against? Right there. Yeah. His one and only loss is to Corey Nelson. It's not even a name I know.
That was in 2013, though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. And going back, I mean, the last 2 he has is like Chad Mendez and Aldo, who both fought each other, right? And he beat both of them. So it's like the better being Jose Aldo of Chad Mendez in that fight. I mean, that's tough. Reddy, how old is he? 30?
He's 30 years old.
Man, he's going to hit his prime. This is his prime.
Yeah, I think he's right there.
You mean?
Yeah, man. Reached 71 inches. Holloway still beats him at 76 or something like that?
No, I think Holloway actually has 69. I think.
What?
Yeah, I think he has one of the shortest reach, and he's the tallest guy in his weight class. It is 68 or 69.
Yeah, because in the what do you call it, the fight of the tape, they're saying that him and Frankie Edgar had the same exact reach, and I was like, what the
Damn.
fuck?
Yeah, he's
That's
got
insane.
Notoriously short reach, especially for a guy his
That's weird.
height, which is
Stature.
really weird.
Because
But
when
he
you
looks
see him
long.
stand,
Yeah.
he since he swivels to side and his arms are wide stands, or he stands wide stance. It kind of feels like he loops around people, which makes it look like he has better reach.
Yeah, no, he does use his size well. He's lanky and he's tall, but he also has really doesn't have wide shoulders or wide hips, if you can tell. So even though his reach isn't that long, I think he utilizes it well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, next subject on that same night, Cyborg beats Spencer, right? Damn, that's nice. Thanks, Kevin.
That was a crazy fight, man.
How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about that?
I was really surprised because it's like everybody was, thinking that. I was actually like, hey, Felicia Spencer might, because when she submitted Megan Anderson, I was like, dude, that girl was huge, and I was very surprised. And then and then they go into this fight, and then like Chris Cyborg obviously starts hitting her with like the kitchen sink and shit.
Oh yeah.
And then she's still standing there. It was insane, man. And then she threw in like her fucking stand up was terrible.
Yeah, it was a little weird. It was like hard to watch because I was like, man, this shows like kind of how shallow the talent pool is in this division. Where it's like, dude, they're just throwing girls. It's like, do you want it? I will give you this much. And she was like, fuck it, I'll do it.
I'll fight.
I'll give up my undefeated record for money. Essentially, that's what she was doing. Because she could have said like, I need a couple more fights to cook. You know.
Yeah.
Do you remember The Lion King when the hyenas are on Simba and like in the cartoon and like all of a sudden he just throws something wildly and he like scratches one of them and it's like
yeah.
That's what it was when fucking Felicia fucking landed that elbow and cut up Cyborg. She was like, "Oh,
really?
You were gonna die now."
It was like before. It's like I was gonna let you die fast, but now I think I'll do it slowly. A lot of people are also making commentary, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but a lot of people were treating Joe Rogan on his call of that because at one point Cyborg threw such a huge flurry that she was just breathing really hard.
Yeah, she was totally gassed out, but she did catch her second win. But in that moment, that was pretty accurate what he was saying.
Yeah.
What did he say?
Because she was throwing everything, and then this girl pinned her up against the wall, and she was like, she looked gassed out. Like that's when I texted you, and I remember I was like, dude, is Felicia Spencer gonna win this thing?
And what Joe Rogan said that Cyborg was gassed out.
He was just saying like, oh, she takes a lot. It takes a lot out of her to cut to this weight class. This isn't even her weight class technically. Like she still has to cut a lot to get here. And he's like, and this is this is where we see like what happens when she's taken into the later rounds. And he's like, she's gassed out right now. This might be from the weight cut, and this, Felicia Spencer might have an advantage here.
Yeah, and what people were mad at what Joe.
Yeah,
Rogan
they're all
said.
well, okay, because Cyborg now she's trying to like she's saying that like because you know how he said that dick joke about her.
Oh yeah.
And I guess like a lot of people on the internet are like giving her shit about it and like all this stuff. And like I guess her kid got some of that in school or something like that.
For it, yeah.
So. And then she's like saying that he apologized to her, and I think he did it on the podcast too, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he might have.
And she's saying that like, oh, he not the man, he not the man, he no say, he don't just like how you talk of this shit,
He no respect me.
Yeah, man, and like, so she's like all pissed off, and like she's like saying like that they're like being. I mean, like I understand the Dana White situation, but.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really weird situation. A bunch of fighters have accused Joe Rogan of being biased. Like I remember, I think
Connor did it too.
Yeah, everybody. Rampage did it. I remember Tyron Woodley for the same thing about gassing. And I remember I sort of agreed with him in one of the fights with Wonder Boy. I think, or no, even in his fight with I think Josh Koscheck. Joe Rogan was like, and he's breathing heavy. And like 30 seconds later, Koscheck was like unconscious. And he was like making it like a bigger deal than it really needed to be. Because he was breathing heavy, but it's in a fight. So I can sort of see that. But, every fighter has a beef with Joe Rogan.
When they're new, he's talking bad about them or whatever.
It's like, and it's non-personal. It's like that's a hard job, man.
I think that's just, it's unfortunate that it's mixed with the online social media shit talking. And fans do jump on something that somebody says. So I guess when they're that famous, they sort of have a responsibility to not flame the fire. But Joe Rogan seemed to do the right thing, apologize. It's sort of out of his hand. But.
Yeah, and then like I don't know, it's just like the whole what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like remember when Thiago he was fighting John Jones? What was that guy's name again?
Thiago Santos.
Yeah, Thiago Santos. That like when he kicked him, he like Joe Rogan called it immediately. He's like, I think he just jacked up his whole fucking knee or whatever. And everybody's like, oh, I don't know about that. Everybody's like,
but he was
saying
100%
like, oh,
right.
Yeah, and he was completely right.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes you're right and sometimes you're not. Like it's just an observation.
Yeah, and it's something that comes with live commentating. Like I can live commentate on anything, and it's like it's only going to be the best of my like guessing in live action as it happens, and it could be 100% wrong. I mean, can you bring up Cyborg's record real quick? Because I mean, that's one thing to point out. Besides the drama, I mean, where do we really land on Cyborg? Like, what is left at women's featherweight?
I always wanted to see her fight Jermaine Durandame.
Yeah, I mean,
but Jermaine said she would never fight her.
Yeah, because she's scared.
Yeah, but no, but that's not true because remember that Chael Sonnen said the same thing, and he responded to Chael Sonnen saying, "I'll fight Amanda Nunes, the person who knocked her out, but Nunes hasn't popped for steroids, and Chris Cyborg has." And so
I'll believe it when they fight.
Oh, okay.
Can you just go to, what is that? The featherweight? Go to women's featherweight rankings. Because that might give you like a standing of like where everyone is in that like weight division. I mean, like everyone can agree that like the women's weight divisions in general are getting way better. I mean, you're seeing some quality fights out of it now.
Yeah, but it's a still slow process.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely. And it's gonna take time. I mean, it's gonna take time for like people to raise the bar and keep, and then whoever's next, right, to enter at that same level and then go from there. But oh, nice. So you have Amanda Nunes, a double division holder? No, double champ.
Yeah, she is.
Then what was Cyborg fighting for then?
What are you talking about?
Oh, the featherweight then? Because who's the double champ is Amanda Nunes, right?
Yeah. It
But-
wasn't a title fight, was it?
wasn't?
No, it wasn't.
It was
a one
5 rounds,
First
though, right?
contender, right?
It was 3 rounds.
Oh,
Was it?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's true.
And that's what Joe
true.
Rogan was like, man, I wish this was a 5-round fight. I wish we could have seen like, you know,
Mhm.
a little bit more. I'm pretty sure if it was a 5-round, Cyborg would have finished Felicia, because at the end she was like destroying her life.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, and I like to see what comes from her. Oh, yeah, that's great. Felicia Spencer, Holly Holm, Megan Anderson, Kat Zingano still in there. I love Kat Zingano. I don't know why.
Yeah, same here, dude.
Yeah, like I feel like every time she was on that,
Oh, yeah.
hot in 2 fucking senses. I feel like when she went on the Joe Rogan podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she like really poured into like the situation she's having. Like
it was
I couldn't know.
rough.
Yeah, it's rough, right? I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine being like not only like a fighter, which fighter mentality goes into like a lot of like macho, like I'm tough kind of stuff, but to be a woman, be that tough, and then some of those girls are like in full-fledged like marriages and like thinking about like, hey, am I gonna have a kid or not? Because I
Yeah.
can't go into battle twice a year, 3 times a year, and have a kid. I mean, we saw that with Misha Tate. So like, I don't know how much longer Zingano really
And then
has.
her husband committed suicide.
What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. That Kat Zingano, yeah.
You just hit me like from over
I
here.
thought that's
with,
what you
like,
were
a
saying because you said marriages. I was like, yeah, they
Yeah.
committed suicide.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
I
I,
didn't
mean,
even know
that's
that.
not funny. I'm sorry.
I know it's not funny,
I'm
but
laughing
it's
now.
like that just caught me off guard.
Yeah,
like,
that was crazy though. Yeah,
Threw a brick
that's
at
why
me.
I always like. I was like, man, I felt bad for her when she lost against like Ronda Rousey and all that stuff happened afterwards.
Jesus
I
Christ.
was like, man, she can't cut a freaking break. What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So in general, how do you guys feel about that Cyborg drama, like all together with like, well, eventually, obviously, she's gonna go for the title next, right?
Yeah.
That's the fight to make, but her contract is up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if she's gonna sign with the UFC. I mean, we've seen so many. We saw Demetrius Johnson, champion, who gets a
One-
split decision loss and is gone after like 10 defenses.
Money talks,
Yeah, Sage Northcutt, he probably got better money where he was at.
guaranteed in exchange for his face.
You know,
Yeah.
same with Eddie Alvarez. Oh yeah,
In
it's-
exchange for his record and dignity. Yeah.
yeah, that was bad. Yeah, there's no way he face planted too. I mean, that was
Oh, yeah.
really bad.
He was out
It was a good
cold.
fight, but you know what? Yeah, that probably would have happened in the UFC had Dana maybe not protected his record. I think, but either way, I don't know if Cyborg will fight in the UFC. I don't think that's a guaranteed. I do think she sort of got the raw end of the stick
Yeah,
in terms
dude.
with Dana and the way she was treated initially, and then them not giving her the title fight, but giving it to Jermaine, and then Jermaine not wanting to fight. It totally blew up in Dana's face, and I think she is right about that. With Dana, with the other stuff, that's a whole other mess of a situation. But with Joe, I mean, but with Dana, she did sort of get the raw end deal of that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel a little weird for like Cyborg because I think Brendan Shaw brought it up, and it kind of really made me feel like, oh man, I was like, man, there might be a lot more politics in this than I actually think.
Yeah, because when they're offering her the rematch, they're offering her with like another fucking contract, probably
Yeah.
like 6-fight contract. And then the last time it took her like what? I don't know. It took her a while to get
Through those fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that's where she's in, and I feel like it's kind of really ridiculous that Brendan Shaw pointed this out. It said, if you're Dana White, who do you want to be the poster child for these divisions? And he kind of, I mean, we have Michelle Waterson, right? We have like
Paige Van Zandt.
Paige Van Zandt, like Ken Zingano. I mean, it's even one like in the beginning she was the same thing, and then Ronda was that for him because I mean it's like, I mean regardless of whether you feel like she's attractive or not, she's more attractive than Cyborg. You know what I mean? And it's gonna make a better poster
Well,
child.
I think people are attracted to the knockouts, though. I think it's just politics in the way of regular politics of money. She came in as a champion. She came in with a bunch of knockouts. She probably came in with a bunch of demands. And Dana's got a big ego. And we've had that with guys that come in that are big names and then they're gone. We had, we've had so many Hector Lombard.
Yeah, that's a
we've
big
had,
one.
A bunch of guys that come in and then just something happens and then they're gone all of a sudden.
And for Lombard, it was like hitting people after the bell.
Yeah, Gegard Mousasi is another one.
Oh, that's a huge one.
Pay me, bitch. That's what he said.
Rory.
What?
He's like,
Baby
pay me, bitch.
Pay me.
You don't remember that shit?
And his Kermit the Frog voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
got to pay me.
Yeah, no, yeah, and he was great. He was great, and he just didn't sign. So it just might be regular money negotiating politics type shit.
Tough stuff. Kicking it off. I want to talk about, just to split it off from fighting for a little bit, about Dana White's Contender Series. I'm not sure if you guys are have ESPN Plus, but that's all provided through that. Recently we had somebody, if you want to look up Flying Knee Finish Contender Series, we could probably watch it live here and then just do a reaction to it. But
All right.
I'm starting to see like trends and people really hyping up a lot of these guys coming out of these fights who are fighting people with under 10 fight, like UFC. Yeah, that one. I'm not sure if we want to show it though, right?
Oh yeah, because we could get pulled.
We could get pulled for that. Just play it on the side.
Well, it usually only gets pulled for like music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, if
it's,
we're just reacting to something, it's
Cool.
Fair use.
it's fair use.
So like it's a question to whether like people coming out of that are actually going to become superstars. You know what I mean? I mean, some of us see like people like Sage Northcutt, you know, they come out, not have the greatest record in UFC, but then go somewhere else and get demolished. And then we have like Aaron Pico, who I point out a lot. Like there's tons of hype behind him. I was super stoked to see him fight. And then to see him get 2 times in a row just getting knocked out. This is kind of weird. And I don't think this is the knockout, though.
What is?
Yeah, this is...
That's not it?
No, I don't think it is.
Let's react to this though.
Well, which one was it?
I think it was
That
this.
second one to the right.
Yeah.
This
That
one?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think so.
Man. Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Oh, baby.
It's just a picture.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just-
Image
picture.
of the one.
Well, his knee flew in his face. It wasn't as good as George Masvidal.
He got a contract immediately after that. It's like the
Yeah.
month of the flying knee is what they're saying.
wasn't
There's 2 in the contender series.
wasn't
wasn't
Greg Hardy
Oh, yeah.
part of the contender series?
I
Greg
think he
Hardy?
was.
Oh, what up, Corey?
Yeah. Oh.
Praise be the Almighty Trilogy.
Oh. I don't know. I feel like it's a... Yeah, I think Greg Hardy was. I mean, some people are coming out of there, and obviously they're being hyped up. You have people with under 10-0 records or 10-1 record. It doesn't matter. Like fighting these main cards, like at the bottom, or like fight cards, like at second to last, like going main event.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, it's a really good way to get your foot in the door. I was looking at Colby Covington's record not too long ago, and he started like second fight of the night, third fight of the night, fourth fight. I think if you rack those wins, getting a few in a row, will propel you to, main card status. Even if you're kind of boring, I think that's why he's done his persona that he does. Yeah, I told you
It's
it's
so
good.
clean.
I know.
Oh my god. I feel how dangerous that is.
Really?
Don't touch it. No, no, no.
No, but it's a good way to get your foot in the door. I do like it
No, yeah.
for that.
I mean, it is. I mean, beforehand, I mean,
This makes me want to party.
well, yeah. The sense that you're in is like, was the Ultimate Fighter pumping out stars anymore? It was just kind of dead. Like
Yeah.
people didn't really appreciate it as much.
I think this takes the Ultimate Fighter and it doesn't bore people with the whole season, but just sort of cranks out fights that people do tune in for. And it serves the same purpose. It's just, I think, updated for more modern, because people are just not going to watch seasons of the Ultimate Fighter. This is also more geared towards YouTube, ESPN app-based type shit,
Oh, yeah.
So it's a little short and sweeter version because people's attention spans it just doesn't jive with the whole season Ultimate Fighter. It's like it just doesn't work, and it's an updated, modernized version, I think. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think about the same thing. About
What do you think
that.
about the whole thing where Dana White at the end chooses if he's going to sign him or not, regardless if they win or lose?
love that. That's
kinda
the
love
drama
that.
right there, because That's drama right there. It like takes you back to that Ultimate Fighter season 1 where he signed Stephen Bonner even though he lost.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
some of that, and it's like real world business. Like, all right, I like him, and that also gives the other fighters notice. Like, I'd rather go balls to the wall. At least I can show something, you know. Yeah, and I like how he breaks guys down like 30 seconds. He's like, this guy, we're not going to sign him, but he's on the right track. I like that. You know, that's some type of information that they're going to need to either propel their career or they're going to, branch off and do something else.
Yeah, they're gonna
That's
have to meet a lot of adversity, like fighting in that non-aggressive style, because you can still be like a wrestler and be very aggressive. I mean, Khabib is like a great example of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like pin someone down, ground and pound them relentlessly. You know what I mean? But like, I think there's one guy that he won the fight, but I guess in the last 30 seconds, right? He went for
He just went for the safe win.
He went for the safe win and
Go
went for a
takedown
double,
and
double
just lay and pray.
and then laid and pray. Yeah, because damn,
Did he
verbatim. That's what I'm
not
saying.
get signed?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Lay and pray.
Yeah, and then the
Did
other
he
guy,
get- did he get signed or
no,
what?
the other guy got
That's
signed.
what I do
the
in the
guy who
bedroom.
lost that fight.
Yeah.
I would have walked
Oh,
up to
nice.
Dana and be like, "Hey, Dana, asshole!"
It's
He's
the
like his
same.
security.
He does a double takedown, a double leg takedown on him, and he's like, "You're signed, buddy." That's what I wanted from you.
We need those kind of balls in the fucking UFC.
He's like, you know what? No one has ever done that to me. Sign him.
That's like from Ted,
Title
right?
shot.
Yeah.
That's from what?
Ted, the movie Ted, was like where the Seth MacFarlane's
Oh,
the bear talks to the guy when he's
yeah.
trying to hire me. He's like, you know what, fuck you, and fuck your mother. And he's like, no one's ever talked to me that way before.
That's funny.
You're hired.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. So moving on to some UFC Fight Night drama, and something that just got announced that's been called out from before, was just released on the last card. They announced it officially, but the Monaco. Yair Rodriguez and Jeremy Stevens is official for UFC Fight Night
Dude.
159. Can you bring up that card, Kev?
Bro, when Jeremy hits Steve,
Yair Rodriguez
when
and
Jeremy
what?
hits people, they don't fucking
they-
move.
Is that UFC 241?
Just a UFC Fight Night 159 card.
Bro, that's gonna be a
Fight
crazy.
night.
I'm scared for that fight, man, because I love Yair.
There you go.
I don't wanna
In
see
Mexico
him get
City,
hurt.
how much are tickets? Oh shit. No, I can't do
Probably cheap.
that. Yeah, right. But then they just gotta fly down there. All right.
How long is that flight from here?
From here to Mexico City is like
Depends
4 hours.
What airline?
Yeah.
Holy
Spirit
shit.
Airlines, $50.
Yeah, $50, and then you just gotta fucking
Round trip.
sit in a little.
I
Colonel
would.
there.
That's
So the main event's already chosen. What is the main event?
Brian
So it is Yair Rodriguez versus Jeremy Stevens, right?
it's gonna be the main event.
Mm-hmm. And then UFC Fight Night 159 main card prelim.
Oh shit, Carlos Esparza versus Alexa Grasso.
So that's gonna be good. Sergio Pettis, I love that he's making a trip down there to fight in front of those people.
Yeah.
You remember Eubanks was the person that was supposed to fight for the title, and then they were like, "Who the fuck is that guy?" Oh jeez.
Bitch
Brendan,
Correa, huh?
Uh-huh.
He's gonna fight against her.
yeah. Jose Quinones, he just got knocked out, I think, at 135. That one was a little sad, but I mean, he's a die-hard. Like, he goes out there to put on a show.
Oh shit, dude! Irene
Yeah.
Aldana.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, she's fucking clean,
Yeah?
bro. She just beat Bitch Correa.
Mm-hmm.
She put her in an armbar. She like rocked her first, and then she put her in an armbar.
Nice and clean.
She just fought what's her name, Raquel Pennington.
Jesus,
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah, and that was like it was like a war.
Damn, Pennington's a big.
You know what fights
Bad
that isn't listed up there that I think looks like they're
Brian-
looking
They're
to
gonna
make is
do
the
Ortega?
Brian Ortega versus Korean Zombie. 'Cause it looks like they're saying it's for Mexico City on September 21st.
I
but
love
it's
how they're
not
getting
on
all
there.
the new blood,
That's the
man.
same. That's dude. That would be an amazing fight because, to be honest, like Jeremy Stevens called out, like Korean Zombie, and that ended up on the fight. I mean, that's
Dude, Korean Zombie is one of the
September
most
21st.
underrated guys there. You know,
yeah.
and that would set up a good rematch, perhaps.
I'm a pretty
You
big
know?
fan of Korean Zombie.
Yeah.
I think he's dope.
Yeah.
That guy's badass. Did
Yeah.
you see his
and
last
shirts
fight?
are dope too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, his merch is dope. I'm
What,
just
his-
I'm propping some like some
okay.
Korean Zombie merch. But if you guys are fans, I feel like I'm becoming so into every weekend that like the last 2 times that I saw a 3-piece Minnesota shirt.
I already bought mine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's coming next
oh,
week.
Oh, this guy. I mean,
God, I gotta get
That's
on
awesome.
and if I see a Bobby Knuckles shirt, like
Yeah,
I might
my
buy
boy,
that.
fucking Bobby Knuckles.
Dude, I might buy it. I might join this guy in the 3-piece Minnesota
Yeah,
thing.
dude. Oh, jeez. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
gotta
Fuck
get me
yeah.
something.
I got one that was like heather colored. It's like that dark gray.
Oh,
It's
really?
Badass. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if it's. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Oh.
We'll see how it looks when it comes in.
Jeez.
I wonder if they're gonna add Tracy, because Tracy Cortez just got signed from the Contender Series too, and she's Mexican American. I wonder if they get
That might be her for debut. I mean, there's so many things that can move around in this fight night because until August 17th, there's going to be some janking around on this card for sure. And the fight card about not order and amount of matches subject to change. Yeah, they're still working some stuff out, and it's Mexico City. I mean, one of my favorite things about Mexico City in general is that I would like to go watch a card down there, but it would be fun if eventually you got enough of a Mexican superstar to make like a main event pay-per-view down there. It would be fucking huge.
Yeah. Well, they had Cain Velasquez as the last
versus
one.
Verdum.
Verdum,
We
where
do
he
not
lost.
speak of that.
That's so heartbreaking. Yeah, it would have to be maybe Yair. He's the one that's climbing up the ranks. It's from, I think, Mexico City, born in Mexico City.
I was hoping they were gonna put him against Jose Aldo on this
Yeah.
card. That would have been bad. I mean, it's still gonna be badass. But
I don't know.
This is a good fight, dude.
Yair just
Jeremy
has
Stevens.
that little drama thing that always I feel like I don't know what happened where they dropped him and then he came back on.
Yeah.
And that was so weird because it's like, man, I really feel like this stunted his path. Like he could have just taken a fight with Zabit and then it would have been fine.
That is a huge question mark because to me it totally looks like he avoided
ducked him,
Zabit.
right?
Yeah, ducked
It
him.
looks like he's ducking him. Yeah.
I mean, after the Frankie Edgar fight, it was kind of like. What's going on?
Sorry, this drink makes me so happy.
I told you, man. It makes you want to party. I'm just like, ooh, this makes me feel real good.
Here, bro, I gotta know.
After that Frankie Edgar fight, though, he got exposed big time, man.
Or you
Yeah.
can have.
And after that, he started training with Alpha Male. So hopefully he's been working on his wrestling a lot, man.
Yeah.
And he's with Cowboy now, right? Isn't that
Oh,
where
yeah.
he's training at? Bad
Yeah.
Motherfucker Ranch.
Yeah.
So I hope.
Even though Cowboy's a Trump supporter, he might call ice on Yair. See what's
Bud
gonna-
Light. I mean, he trained him on how to throw that.
Yeah, I was
fucking-
about to say that he trained him not to throw that fucking elbow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We all saw the fight. You know.
Yeah. It's like actually the only way I saw it was a live reanimation or that people just acted it out for me.
Reenactment.
Yeah, reenactment. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of drama. I really feel like I really wanted to go the right way for him, moving forward for his career. If he beats Jeremy Stevens, I mean, where do you feel like he lands? Can you pull up Yair in the fighting ranks and see where he lands?
I think he's like number 7.
5, 6, no 6, 7. Yeah, okay, maybe you're right.
Something like that.
If him and Brian Ortega both win, man, they might.
I mean,
Yeah, that would be a good fight.
Yeah.
If it really depends,
Number
though.
7, featherweight division. 12 wins, 2 losses.
nailed down to the number.
Bandera.
You know, it really depends because let's say Brian Ortega and Shan Jung Sung have one of those crazy fight of the night type of
Yeah.
performances where both of their profiles get raised and just one of them's the winner. He could fight even the loser and maybe come out and look good.
Yeah.
It really depends because maybe he gets a win, but it's a sloppy win and you might think he needs some work. I don't know, or it depends. Or he looks really good, Brian looks really good. They both call each other out and, make that for the
That's
number
right.
1 contendership or something.
What's the real move there for Brian Ortega to come out swinging? I don't think it's the move. I mean, I mean, we're talking about the first Twister finish and only Twister finish in history.
Yeah.
But to have him go to the ground with Brian Ortega, that seems insane.
Brian Ortega has like 6 guillotine finishes in like a row or something. Or not in a row, but he's got so many submission wins. He came up as a submission fighter, as a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu submission fighter. First guy to knock out Frankie Edgar. And very similar to Shan Jung Sung, who is a Jiu-Jitsu fighter, but he likes to throw those hands, and I think it's the same reason with Brian Ortega. They feel so comfortable if they fall or slip that they want to be on the ground. They don't care if they're on the bottom, so they'll throw everything. They'll throw haymakers. Shan Jung Sung knocked out Mark Hominick in Canada in the first 15 20 seconds. Just went in there boxing. He's really dangerous. He just came off a knockout win. I think it was like in 40 seconds. He's one of the few guys that show that solid knockout power. Him and like Cody Garbrandt are the few guys in that weight class that are that small that have that middleweight type of punch where they touch guys and guys fall differently. They fall unconscious.
Yeah, they fall looking up at the stars as the
don't
lights there. Like,
fucking move.
oh shit.
Yeah, well, that's
You're
Here
probably
we
wondering
go.
how I got here. Pretty cool. I mean, on to just a previously passed UFC fight night. Dos Anjos versus Leon Edwards. How do you guys feel about
Okay.
that?
good recap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Dos Anjos versus Leon Edwards.
Oh, shit.
UFC on ESPN. By now, I mean, did you guys see any of those fights?
Yeah, so that was a really good fight. I think Leon Edwards looked really good. RDA fights the toughest guys there are.
Mhm.
You know, I think a fight between him and Darren Till, I think that makes sense. You know, Darren Till is coming off 2 losses. He's still the bigger name though, and they are the best fighters in the UK, 1 and 2. I don't know who's 1 and who's 2, but I would love to find out. That's a really good fight. If that doesn't make sense, you know, Jorge Masvidal, I think he could probably get a bigger fight, so maybe that's too outside of his range. You know, that or maybe Tyron Woodley. You know, Tyron Woodley or Darren Till. I think either one of those makes sense.
How decisive do you think Leon Edwards' win was over Dos Anjos?
It was decisive. I mean, I don't. I think he won most of the rounds. The rounds were pretty close, and I think maybe RDA stole some of those rounds. But you know, it's a tough fight. I think Dana White throws RDA when he thinks, is this the guy or is he not the guy? All right, let's find out. And I think he
It's like a Keith Yargene, dude.
well, he actually became champion.
Yeah,
so,
that's the difference,
you know,
right?
he made it. You know, but
I mean, so as a decisive win as Leon Edwards had over him, what was the actual scorecard at the end? Does it say on there?
For what?
If he won, like,
I think-
all judges gave him to, you know, it was
I think
unanimous.
it was like 4 rounds to 1.
Unanimous, pretty much.
He opened up a really nasty cut on him too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
round 5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna
that
say-
just means other one all the way.
That
Leon
left
Edwards
elbow.
has the best elbows. He throws it just maybe better than John Jones. The way his reach in that weight class is compared to the guys he's fighting, he throws it like a jab, slips and boom, throws that elbow. Nobody has better elbows than Leon Edwards right now.
Sharp ass
I think
Yeah, I know.
the guy
They do
who's
look
closest
like, actually,
Jones
like
or
his bone is like
Israel.
thicker there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's either I think Jones or Israel who's like the second best, but he's number 1 with that.
That's
really good.
One thing to bring up about Israel that I always love is that he said is like at one point like this guy was sticking his arm out like this, and I said, "Oh, you're gonna give me this?" And he just grabs his wrist and just comes over like, bam! Like, like I really think that that's super smart thinking. It's like even you need to find like a positive out of almost every situation, and when someone's really trying to like find reach and stick you or like gauge you, like that's also like an opportunity for you to do something else. And for him to say that out loud, I was like, I never really thought about it that way. But it's like always, everyone always looks at whoever is like gauging distance and then hitting a shot as like, wow, this guy's like ultra aggressive. He's like really like he's walking this guy down. You know what I mean? But for somebody that's like, oh, you're gonna do that to me? Okay, I'm literally gonna grab your hand and then stick you with an elbow. Like I mean, that shows that they're like even in the defense, I'm still dangerous.
See, that's the counter to that.
Yeah, it is the move. As those bring up that fight card, the Leon Edwards versus Dos Anjos. It's UFC on ESPN. I don't know what else was on there.
It wasn't too many. I think that was the.
Oh, nice.
There's been a few fight cards lately that it's just the main events.
Oh, Greg Hardy was on that one. So that was the first.
God.
That was the. Oh God.
Alexander Hernandez too.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he was on that one, and
Oh,
it was,
yeah.
he just lost to a Cowboy. And remember how much he talked
Jeez.
shit coming into that? He came into this one very humble because he just
Got his ass kicked.
He got his ass
But
kicked.
you know what? I like after his loss, he had the attitude you want to see somebody like that have, and I thought he was gonna win. And then it was kind of surprising. 'Cause I was like, oh yeah, this guy's fighting again. But he looked. I was like, I'm glad he's fighting under the radar. He's sort of building himself back up right now.
Another fight card, another fight that I see on that card that I think is super silly too, and I kind of want to ask you about this because I've asked you about like Andrei Arlovsky and a while ago. I remember you telling me they were like, I don't know, I just feel like just throw him in there to throw him in there. This might bring up the next subject, but Andrei Arlovsky, they put him against Ben Rothwell, who I feel like that's like you grab two guys on the back end of their career, right?
I didn't even know that fight fucking happened.
Oh, I did, and it was just like something to keep Andrei Arlovsky in because he's been like coding these preliminary
Where the
cards.
fuck has Ben Rothwell been?
He got
Didn't he test
He was
positive?
suspended, and this was his first fight coming
His first
back.
fight.
And I
Holy
actually thought
shit.
Ben would win because I was
I
super
did too.
huge
I
on
did
him
too.
before he left. I was super huge. I actually liked him, and it sucked that it sort of came and went, and it didn't make a big fuss, and then he lost. Like it sort of sucks. So I don't know what.
Ben Rothwell's a really, really great character. I think like
Fuck yeah.
him coming up like has been really awesome to see the highs and lows of him, and obviously like because the Ben Rothwell thing was on Joe Rogan, right? Like he tested positive, kind of the same way where he
Dude,
got taped.
you know who I wish I had like money so I could do this Hollywood movie. That guy should play Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman killer. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
Oh, okay. Google him. That guy was like 6'4". He was like Polish or some shit. He lived in like New Bergen, New Jersey, and he was a serial killer. And
What is he called? The Iceman
they
Killer?
call him the Iceman Killer, but yeah, that's his name. And
But,
he was
images.
like 6'4", and I was like, dude.
Holy shit, you're right.
This guy looks just like him. And yeah, and this guy, if you look at his height and weight, he looked just like him. He killed like 80 fucking people for the mafia.
Jesus Christ.
And people will know about this. People that are watching this, go to YouTube right now, watch the documentaries. They're badass. They're like 45-minute documentaries. He goes into detail, working with the mafia, being a hitman, having to collect money and shit. And I always thought Ben Rothwell would play him perfectly because he's already naturally creepy. He's that tall, and he's got the same weird freaking, I don't know.
Dude, it's
That's
like,
my thing. Anyway, what are we
it's
talking
like
about?
that's like going up to like a famous actor, like it was like it's like, oh, Pacino, you know who I really think you would play like
I
very
know.
well, and it's like John Wayne Gacy, and he'd be like, what?
Dude, what the
You would
fuck?
play him perfect.
Come
I
on,
feel
they're
like
like
you're
the
just
same height, weight, and
yeah.
shit.
I mean, I feel like that's
They're
a really good
balding
one.
in the same area
Oh
too.
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, right. I don't know. The thing with that Arlovsky fight versus him is just proving they're like, all right, we're gonna throw some fights at these guys where one of them has to win so they can keep on, coding this. Because I mean, at heavyweight, who do you have as stepping stones anymore? You know
Derek
what I mean?
Heavyweight
Motherfucking
has
Lewis.
always been the division where people have said this, and I think it's true. It's the higher weight class you go, the least skill. I know that's sort of like disrespectful, but it's because you don't need the skill because you're that fucking big,
Yeah.
So
You
that's
can knock someone out with
that's
anything.
why Mark Hunt is probably still like number 9 in the world.
Yeah.
And he's been number 9 for like 12 years because there's just not that many people. And so whenever you get a guy that moves like a guy who's 205 or 185, he becomes like fucking. That's why Muhammad Ali was so good. He moved. That's why John Jones is so good. He moves so light. Even the heavyweight champions, Kane's in DC, they're the smallest guys. So, and they've been top 5 for the last 10 years. You just don't have that. Meanwhile, 155, 145, 170.
They're so dynamic.
Every guy, number 1 could lose to number 7.
Yeah.
Number 3 could lose to number 11.
They're just stacked.
Number 4 could possibly beat number 2. It's so stacked. That's right. So
Where we find ourselves in the heavyweight division, where it's like I feel like they need people like that to like really propel that situation. I mean, we have Dominic Reyes. I feel like was just fighting. A lot of people like he just got Chris Weidman
yeah,
as a
I'm
light heavyweight.
I'm very interested in that, especially after Luke Rockhold.
We
Yeah.
Dominic Reyes boys for sure.
I know it's gonna be interesting to see what Weidman does that weight class. Especially, I'm scared now after seeing Luke Rockhold get like demolished. But that's a
man.
whole different
Yeah.
story, though.
You want to segue into that? How do you feel about that?
Okay, well, let's segue into the last pay-per-view fight, which I was going to start top to bottom, but right there is perfect. Yeah. Luke Rockhold, I think that's the only fight that I think everybody of us here got wrong. I got wrong.
I got wrong.
Because we had Luke Rockhold, he just doesn't look like the same Luke Rockhold. He looked like... He looked like a Luke Rockhold that hadn't learned his lesson, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Like, he still
You ain't
had
learned
his
your
hands
lesson,
up.
Dropping
boy.
the hand, right?
No, he
Man.
kept his hands down. He kept being
Yeah.
cocky. Even in the fight after getting rocked, he still did it. It's like...
And
it
that
was
first time that he
so-
got dropped, I was like,
Yeah,
they
what
should
did
have
you
called
think?
it right
Yeah.
there. He got
should've.
because the round got called, right? And then like the way he was acting, like I'm pretty sure he thought that it was over.
Yeah,
he thought
yeah.
it got called.
That's
Well, that always happens. That happens.
That looked like when Dillashaw walked away from Garbrandt. Remember, like he rocked him in the last seconds, and then he gets up and he gives him the finger, and then Dillashaw walks away like, oh shit. Like, I mean, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts to watch a guy do that because it's like, wow, dude, he's out of it, man.
It reminded me... It wasn't as bad, but it reminded me of Jorge Masvidal versus Cowboy.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
He ended that
That
round on
one
top of
worse.
him.
That one, if you
That
look
one
at
was
the
crazy.
corner, he's like, all right. You can tell he's trying to like remind him like the fight's not over.
Yeah.
Let it be cool, or else the commission's about to pull you off here.
Yeah.
And so this wasn't as bad. I thought he recovered fine, but
Didn't even ask him to repeat it. He's like, okay, you gotta do that. What do you gotta do? To like Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling's like, oh, you want
Yeah,
to do
he's
this
like,
and this and that.
I'm trying to go to McDonald's to buy the next Happy Meal. The Beanie Babies could be worth $1 million.
Trying
Yeah,
to get tacos at Burger King.
Do you think? Okay, so do you think Luke Rockhold fights again? And who do you think he should fight next if he does?
At light heavyweight?
Yeah, because I don't think what is he gonna go cut
Kevin,
back down?
bring up on a different tab. Bring up the light heavyweight ranking.
I already got your answer, but I want to hear you tell.
I got a
good answer, and I think you'll.
Anthony Smith.
Come on, they were
Whoa,
talking so
that's
much
a fucking
crap,
fight.
right?
Yeah.
Right. That's the only one that makes sense now. But Anthony Smith said he won't grant him that favor because now he's really going to be using
Dude,
him.
Anthony Smith will
Go to
kill
light
him,
heavyweight.
man.
Yeah, now
Jesus
it's like-
Christ.
So,
And he talks so much shit too.
Yeah, yeah.
He was very dismissive of the weight class.
So at light heavyweight, you have who's your top ranking guys? You have Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith at 3. Really, is at 3 still? I mean, his last fight was
Wait,
for the
who?
title, right? Dominic Reyes at 4. That one was a weird one, getting him up there. But I mean, that's why Chris.
Wait, you're saying that
Weidman-
Anthony Smith's at 3 still because he beat Alexander Gustafsson?
I would have loved to
Oh, yeah.
see him
Sorry.
against
That was a
Gustafsson.
good ass fight too.
Luke Rockhold versus Gustafsson. That would have been a
Oh.
good fight. I would have loved to see a year and a half ago.
Oh man, Anthony Smith.
And-
but I mean,
Alexander Gustafsson, they're saying that he might not be out yet. He's saying that he still kind of has that.
Yeah,
itch.
and I don't think he is now.
I think if you really put it together, I think okay, Anthony Smith. That's the best fight to make as an entertainer, as someone who wants to get a
Yeah.
little drama going, maybe light up a fight night at main card, right?
Yeah.
But if you really wanted to make like a legit like interim, like a start fight for like Chris Weidman could fight Alexander Gustafsson, I think that'd be pretty entertaining.
Well, he's got raised. I was gonna say the guy who's not in this list, who I think is like 6 or 7, is Corey Anderson.
Could you look up the
Oh,
full division, the full thing, like beyond 5?
Either Corey Anderson or Alir Latifi.
I hear
One of those
Latifi's
guys.
already fighting on the Dustin Poirier card versus.
Isn't Johnny Walker and Corey Anderson having some kind of beef right now?
Oh, yeah.
They're announcing that for Madison Square Garden this year.
Yeah, I heard they agreed. I would
shit.
love to see that fight. That's a good fight. right
Corey
there.
Anderson, Blachowicz, right? Man, that guy's like a fucking strong guy. Why? Oh, they're tied. That's not even an official. He's number 6 and he's number 5. They have him as like Alexander and Jack.
And they don't have a number 6.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's just doubled up 5.
Yeah, they're tied. They're tied in the rankings right now.
That's so.
That's so weird. Has that happened for any other thing?
I
That
mean,
is so weird. Wait, they have 2 number 5s and no number 6.
yeah, because
They might not
because they're taking up two spots.
If both those dudes are coming off losses, or one's coming off a loss, but one's
Then-
coming off a win,
Then
that
one
might-
gets placed at
that-
6,
that
one gets placed at 5.
Yeah, but that's a double 5 on that ranking. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Glover Teixeira, he's still at 10, which I think is super silly. Latifi is gonna fight who? Uzdemir at Dubai.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
That's gonna be a crazy card. That's gonna be a crazy card also because if anyone drinks alcohol as hard as I do, I'm gonna ask for that Saturday off because I'm pretty sure the card is gonna start during the middle of the day.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
do that shit.
So like if you guys want to meet up on a Saturday and day drink through a card, I think that might be the best one to
bro.
do.
That's yeah.
I'm gonna need a nap.
I'm gonna need a nap. I'm just
Fuck
saying,
yeah.
like it's a pretty funny situation as these cards go all the way around the world.
You know what? I totally dig that. I like when they're on Australia and it's like on Sunday at like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
That's
I
pretty
actually think
badass.
that's cool because it's like 2 o'clock and you get the main event and shit.
Yeah.
You just yeah, we'll do that.
That means
Yeah.
I can watch that entire fight before I have to go to work.
Yeah.
That'd be
I mean,
dope.
These might be the best. I mean, Australia is a really big one. I mean, the next Australia card is going to be probably one of the biggest like gates in UFC
Oh, yeah.
history. People are already talking about that. But like this Dubai card, not to stray that much off of this, like it's going to be a great card. It's going to be like I'm pretty sure it'll be on Sunday, right? Would it be?
Sunday.
I don't know. It's in
Dubai.
that
What's the date for it?
brown part of the world.
because of the desert, yeah.
You can't
I,
You can't say that.
yeah, you
Can't say that.
Oh,
can't
man.
say that.
You can. I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be a great card. To finish off this last like UFC on ESPN, Dos Anjos versus Leon Edwards, right? We went over some of the cards, but I mean, what does this do for that
You didn't
division?
even talk about Ben Askren and fucking Jorge Masvidal.
That's what I'm stepping into, buddy.
Okay. I didn't know.
It's Leon Edwards is up. People are talking about like Jorge Masvidal just whipping on Ben Askren, right?
Yeah.
And what does this mean for him? Leon Edwards is, like I said, much like we were talking about with Smith versus
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like a height fight, you know.
We want to see that, but like I said, I think Jorge, because of his last big win, he's maybe
Too high up.
He's too high up now. He's priced out of Leon Edwards' ability to get a
And
fight
drama,
right
yeah.
now. So, were those the biggest fights from the fight night? Just the Leon Edwards and
Well, we saw that Hardy fight, which you grimaced at, but I
yeah,
mean,
no, that was fun. I like that. I want to see him. I want to see him fight Derek Lewis
go to UFC Fight Night on
Hardy,
ESPN.
Derek Lewis.
because Derek Lewis and him went back and forth.
Go.
Oh, really?
Two more
Yeah.
back. Two more back.
Derek Lewis says he wants to fight him because he's a wife beater.
Yeah.
Go
I
straight-
think Greg Hardy said he accepted or he would
that
do
go
it.
down on that
Oh,
one.
I want to see that one so bad.
Yeah.
On that one. So yeah, it was Greg Hardy. James Vick lost. Oh damn, James Vick got knocked the fuck out by Dan Hooker. That was fucking hilarious. I hate James Vick. I like.
Why?
I don't know why, but like for him to come out and talk shit to Gaethje, like he talked shit on Gaethje, like he's like, oh, you're like a punch drunk Homer Simpson.
Oh,
Yeah, and then he
that
went out
guy.
and got knocked the fuck out by Gaethje, and I was like, oh, talk shit, get hit, motherfucker. Like it made me feel like I was like, that's what you get. So he got. All right, so
He's
like
moving up in weight class, I hear.
he is.
Yeah, he's moving to 170 because he cuts a lot of. He fights at 155, right? He's like 6'3".
Oh.
I remember
James
when Jose
Victor.
went up
Crazy.
a weight class.
No, yeah.
Wait, what?
Hey, buddy went back down.
Yeah.
He disciplined himself.
That, to kind of
Yeah.
key in a little bit on my like frustration with my weight class, it's like, dude, I could fight at heavyweight, but I was like, I think about heavyweight fighters, and I'm like, dude, I would fucking lose so hard.
Those dudes would murder.
Because I was
me.
like, dude, I need to make 205. So it's like, if I make 205, I fight light heavyweight, I can just get my ass whooped by John Jones. So like,
Yeah, John Jones would fuck me up.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. No questions asked. All right, but what do you guys think for Masvidal then? What is the fight? Because Masvidal said that the only fights he's gonna have is Conor McGregor or the title.
Wait, hold on. So let's talk about the reaction to the Ben Askren fight, though. I mean, what did you think? Just when it started, I know you guys were here watching it.
Oh, yeah.
And we wanted to. We were gonna drive over here to watch it, but it was like we were kind of far. And I was like, I don't want to miss any of these fights,
Yeah, I'm gonna
dude.
go so.
I mean, the place we were at,
mine.
Buffalo Wild
You have to
Wings,
drink your-
lit up. I just want to know what it was like over here when you saw it. When you saw Jorge Masvidal sort of still talking shit, and then, look at him sort of walking around, and then boom, just bolt at
Yeah.
him. What was your reaction? I
was
want to
my
get that.
So definitely one
What
of the
did your
things.
face make the same face?
Okay, so this is pretty funny. I turned around to my girlfriend. We cheers. The bell rung, right?
That was your first mistake.
And then afterwards, I looked back, and as I looked back, it was him flying through the air to a hit, and I was like, "Oh snaps!" He rocked him, and then he did the two punches, right? And during the two punches, I looked back to look at everyone's reaction because I didn't understand like how this was happening.
Like,
So
what the
Second
fuck
mistake.
just happened?
and when I looked back, he was already just like tapping him out, and I was like, "Jesus Christ, man, this is intense."
What did you think of him mocking him afterwards? I thought everything was perfect.
I thought that was perfect.
I
I feel
almost
like
came.
that was well deserved. I think the post-fight speech makes me laugh super hard because this guy says like this guy can talk crap on Twitter all he wants like before the fight. He can do anything he wants, and then as soon as the fight is over, like I have to like watch what I say.
I
Like
fucking loved his post fight. Yeah.
It was one of the most articulate and almost poetic things that he said about Askren is like him talking like, oh, like he talked shit about some fight we had in the gym like a long time ago. Like for my experience, like the gym is where we sharpen our tools to do battle, and like the arena is like where we put them on display for like the rest of the world. You know what I mean? For him to like call me out on shit that he saw at the gym, it seems super unprofessional.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that plus saying, why is it okay to talk crap before the fight, but
Yeah, he was
after the
throwing-
fight, I have to be respectful? Like, I understand that. It's like,
He was throwing low key shade at Conor McGregor too when
Yeah.
he said that too. He's like, "This guy, we can talk about religions, we can talk about
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
all
yeah,
this
he
shit."
was,
He's like,
he
"But it's not
was.
okay for me to gloat when I beat his ass."
yeah, no, he was, and it's true, yeah, I always got, it's like, why does now Jorge is the bad guy if he doesn't walk over and bow to Bennett? Like, why?
Right.
No, like,
No.
Did
no,
you hear
it's
what he
like,
said
And
when
if he
he,
sees him at Whole
tapped
Foods,
him
he's
out?
gonna
Yeah.
beat his ass.
yeah. What?
When he tapped him out, when he was like that, he's like, "Talk that shit now." That's what he said. I was
Talk
like,
that shit
Dude,
now.
we were at Buffalo Wild Wings, me and David. Everybody there was going for Ben Askren. We were hearing Ben Askren fans. Jorge came on. I cheered Jorge, and then the fight started. And I mean, waitress, everybody was just shocked. Everybody was like, "Holy shit!" We were like, "Oh my!" I mean, everything about that was perfect. That's like exactly how I wanted the fight to go. And mind you, I like Ben Askren. I actually think the way he
You do like
reacted
Ben
to
Askren.
his loss, so many people can learn from it. In fact, I'm almost more happy with the outcome because it couldn't have happened to a more mentally stronger dude. You know how many people? Jose Aldo's 13-second knockout broke him for a while, and
Yeah.
that changed. He didn't go as bad as Ronda Rousey by hiding herself in by the paparazzi and shit.
Oh, yeah.
But he stayed in Brazil. He didn't do interviews. It was he looked defeated walking in. Certainly looked like a broken man walking out. And Ben Askren, although all
That's
the
what I look like
memes
when I
and all
walk
that
out
shit
the
came
house
out,
every
yeah.
day.
Dude, he doing
Told you
interviews
about
with
his doctor,
Ariel
nothing.
Helwani and stuff, 24 hours after that knockout loss. He just really he showed a lot of character and resilience, I think.
So-
to be fair, this is a huge Jorge Masvidal fan. I'm a fan of both, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a fan of both. I'm a bigger fan now of Jorge Masvidal for going essentially Babe Ruth in this shit, fucking pointing left field, fucking calling it. Doing training to be like, he's gonna do this, I'm gonna knee this motherfucker in the face. To do it, then come out and not only have one of the best post fight, like anything that Jorge Masvidal says coming out of there is gold.
Yeah.
It makes the crowd know that if this guy, and this is a big point to bring up that I'll open up a discussion to you guys, like he has the title fight or a big money fight like Conor McGregor in his within eye shot, like he should do something like that. But talking about this, and the reference goes back to this, Nate Diaz did almost exactly the same thing, and now
very close.
he
to
did not
McGregor.
play that correctly in the sense that all right, the big money fight never came to him.
Who
because-
never played that correctly?
Well, I feel like he said fuck this, I'm not gonna UFC fight
Who didn't?
Well,
play
I feel like
correctly? Diaz.
no,
didn't play?
Dana White didn't,
Oh, okay.
because Dana White should have said, let's pay this guy.
Yeah.
He brings eyes on. I would buy a Nate Diaz pay-per-view.
Yeah, but you know why? Dana doesn't like guys that don't toe the company line.
They're not company
and
men.
although they get the media hype, they have the underground fan base that fucking supports their whole system, which they show throw us a bone. They don't like to. That's why Cyborg and guys that go against, anytime Dana has
Tyron
had
Woodley.
Tyron Woodley. Anytime he's had a rift, Demetrius Johnson, even with stuff that is not really their fault. It's just anytime he's had a rift, he doesn't promote him. He puts him on the back burner, and it's just safer to sort of,
Who needs thumbs?
Who
needs thumbs?
yeah, exactly. No, but I mean that's what Dana. That's Dana's ego and shit.
And that's where I feel like I land on that one, because it's I really hope that this doesn't happen the same way that it happened to Nate Diaz, where it's I don't feel like Dana White knows that he has gold in his hands. If he puts him up against, and like layering this into the next Kobe Covington fight, if he puts him up against anyone that isn't the title fight or Conor McGregor, is he damaging the fan base there? Is he making the best fight that people want to see? Because right now people want to pay to see Jorge Masvidal fight. If he put him on a pay-per-view, they're gonna pay. I would pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go to B-dubs and watch that.
Yeah, I think Dana White will land on the right decision because it's not the same thing with the Diaz brothers. Nick Diaz, he had already sort of a rift with Dana White. He went to Strikeforce, then he came back and fought BJ, then he was out for a while, then Nate came in and fought Connor. So that's a little different. I think Jorge is also, I don't want to say smarter, but he sort of knows how to play the game right. And I think he knows... I think he knows how to play the game right, even with the media. You can tell his intelligence is growing. Like, even with him, he's going to do the podcast with Michael Bisping, a guy who he had beef with, which I think is really cool because I like both of those guys.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think this week or next week he's going to be on. Mm-hmm. I think he knows, what he can do, and he's trying to play it correctly. And I do see either Conor McGregor for Jorge Masvidal. I think that's a very real possibility.
Even though he's a bigger boy.
Yeah. Well, not
And
really.
That, and him saying
155,
that is like a total promoter move. Like, he was just trying to get I feel like he was just trying to get a rise
out of Conor.
Conor McGregor because it's
and then Dana saying, "Sorry, go up, finish it."
Somebody that has such a crazy ego like Conor McGregor, you say, oh, he's too big for him. What do you think he's gonna do? And he did. He actually talked to Dana and made a call. So, and also Jorge Masvidal just posted something too. Somebody said a comment on Conor McGregor's picture where it's like, oh, you should fight Jorge Masvidal, and I guess Conor liked the comment or some shit, and Jorge Masvidal posted oh shit, we might have a fight.
Yeah, but the guy who said he was too big was Dana, right?
Yeah.
I think that's him being smart, well, he's too big, and he's waiting to see Conor's reaction, does Conor take the bait? Chael talked about this, saying that this actually puts him closer because the fact that Dana mentions it and says he's too big, that's playing into Conor's ego, and will make Conor respond saying the hell you think I'm too
welterweight
small?
rankings, Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
Bring up the welterweight rankings.
It's Hyman.
What's Jaime? Jaime. I mean, I'll open this up. I'll start it off with you, David. I mean, if it's not the title, if it's not going to be Conor McGregor, and it's not Leon Edwards, who would you rather see fight Jorge Masvidal? What is left for him in that division?
I feel like everything all lies in the fight that's going to happen with
Colby Covington
and Robbie Lawler. Mm-hmm. Depending on who wins that, if fucking Colby Covington comes out with a really good win out of that, a decisive win, I feel like they have the chance of either. I'm pretty sure they would probably just do Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington, and on the undercard putting Tyron Woodley against Jorge Masvidal. And then also they have that opening spot where if somebody doesn't make weight or whatever, they can just replace them. But ultimately, what I want to see happen is I want to see Colby Covington and fucking Jorge Masvidal fight at it for the fucking belt, because you have such a fucking poetic storyline where Colby Covington, they're best friends. They came up from nothing together. They live together. They train together all the time. And then you have one guy who's coming from nothing but hatred. He's the heel. He's trying to be the heel. As a matter of fact, he's trying to get...
he will have, supposedly, the Trump brothers.
No, but he's going to get Kurt Angle's theme song where, remember when he comes out, it's you suck. He's trying to be the heel that bad that he wants to get that fucking track so that, he's he's playing the part.
Yeah.
And so the Trump hat.
Of course.
The ultimate heel move.
Right? And then, so you got one guy who's hated by everyone, and you got one guy who's fucking loved by everyone. And you're going to have them fight brother against brother, and they respect each other. They don't hate each other.
Well, you know what, though?
They even said, we'll do it for the right money.
Exactly. And they, won't do it talking shit either. They, fucking will respect each other to the death, and they're going to go to the death. And that's that storyline, that narrative, I want to see.
What do you think
that's
about
real
Dylan
drama.
Dennis, talking shit on Jorge Masvidal with Tyron Woodley?
What happened?
Tyron Woodley and Jorge Masvidal did a commercial together for something, for some UFC press.
Oh, is that what happened? I was wondering what happened.
Dylan Dennis and... who else? Dylan Dennis and somebody else. I'm pretty sure.
Somebody else.
I don't know.
I don't know if it was
Dylan's about as bottom of the barrel. So
yeah,
I know.
Colby Covington. I think they were. Oh wait.
He said that we need new best friends or something like that.
Dylan Dennis said we need new. Ben Askren. They were talking about how does Tyron Woodley feel about doing a commercial with the guy who knocked out one of his best friends, and Dylan Dennis, and then Tyron Woodley's like, dude, shut the fuck up, you cloud chaser.
But they had Jorge and Tyron had known each other since a while. They had trained together too for a while, right?
That's another thing. Jorge Masvidal, out of all the people in the top, he's got fucking history with all of them. He trained with Robbie Lawler.
Yeah.
He trained with fucking Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley's the guy that got him into ATT and all that shit. Mm-hmm. And then he, grew up with fucking Colby Covington. So whoever he fights there, he's got
that video you
is
sent
his homie.
Yeah, his homie.
He's like, I'm gonna fight one of my homies.
Except I think Kamaru Usman's the only guy that they don't have history in the back.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
The video you sent me, where I thought it was really, I don't want to say sweet, but it's it was very sweet that he said look at how Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal like bond in these videos before Kobe Covington developed the persona of like I'm a piece of shit, like fucking hate
if
me.
you see those videos, you're like, dude, Kobe
They're like-
Covington's fucking awesome.
He's the funniest. He's a funny,
Yeah.
like nice guy who obviously is like hand in hand. Like
But that's why I almost think that him versus Jorge wouldn't work, just because people have sort of found out more that Colby's not as douchey as almost he.
But I
he
feel like that's
likes
like
to think, but
it's something so different from like
Yeah.
what we've been seeing, where people talk shit and talk.
I
shit,
like
you
him.
know?
I want to see him, and I also, because I heard he's gonna have maybe the two Trump brothers in his next fight. I actually think that's fucking awesome. That'd be
That is
hilarious.
hilarious.
Whether if you like him or you hate Trump, I think that'll just be. It'll make you want to watch. Maybe he'll get knocked out and see his reactions and shit or whatever. But I actually do like him more. It's almost hard to dislike him. It's like if I saw him and Jorge fight, I'd probably root for Jorge. But I wouldn't be like, man, fucking Colby.
Yeah,
That's
no, me neither.
how maybe I was against with Ben.
Yeah.
Even though I kind of like him more. The whole thing is really, it's a really good
bring out those
weight
welterweight
class
rankings
right
again.
now.
It's crazy that. Oh god.
So looking at that, I mean, on the same sense where it's like you can't really see that going any other way. The only fight that I see for Masvidal up there that he hasn't already fought is Anthony Pettis or Santiago. That
Ponzinibbio?
one, yeah, he's that Argentinian guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So but again, we're reaching at this
I
point.
know. I totally forgot about Anthony Pettis and
Dude,
Nate Diaz.
yeah. So
That's gonna
Anthony
be
Pettis.
also
So
a factor, too.
that's the game changer there. So if Anthony Pettis were to beat up on Nate Diaz, or Nate Diaz were to win and then come up into the rankings, Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal, holy shit! For number,
I mean, he almost
Yeah.
fought Nick
Great.
Diaz.
oh dude, fuck yeah! So
Yeah,
that's
great fight.
one there where it's like that's the only thing left. Where if you feel like if you're appealing to the fight fans, the guys that are going to show up at a beat-ups or order a fight for not the main event, not a co-main event that's also a title fight, but the people's card, which was like Ben Askren versus Jorge Masvidal, that was the people's fight. That's the people's fight.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Who do you feel the same, or I don't know how you feel about Santiago, because that guy's also a murderer.
Yeah. Well, I think he doesn't fight as often as some of these other guys, I think.
He's not a healthy guy. He's like
yeah, he fights more
gets,
like-
he gets injured a lot.
Once every like 7 months, so it's sort of hard.
I was gonna ask, what do you think about them setting up Ben Askren against Damian Maya now?
Oh fuck yeah!
Love that fight. I have got Damian Maya. I actually think this is a real crucial fight for Ben, because now he has the perfect fight. He's a ground guy. Well, he's fighting a guy who only wants to fight him on the ground. He already lost to a striker. If he gets submitted by the jiu-jitsu guy, he has nothing, because that's the one thing he has.
Yeah.
If you were to go in there and get choked out, get tapped out by someone after getting knocked out, that puts him,
Yeah.
Fall from grace.
I mean, I've never been more excited about two men rolling on the floor like this. I had to say.
so
all
excited.
greased up.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So it's gonna go one of two ways, in my opinion, for that. If that's official now,
Yeah.
all right, Ben Askren just wrestles him in a way where he controls how it goes down to the floor, because that's the key there. Like who takes who to the floor, how. And I think Ben Askren might be able to drive that situation a little bit more in his direction than Damian Maya, who's been known to pull guard multiple times in a defensive maneuver and then roll himself around someone. You know what I mean? So for Ben Askren, I feel like he has like a deciding factor, which he's like, I don't know, if you look at the way he came out versus Jorge Masvidal, he's just trotting to him. You know what I mean? He's gonna have to change that up. Like Damian Maya, I feel like between him and him, they're not going to do like a primary, like if you've ever done jiu-jitsu, they go up and they feel their hands, they feel like how they're coming down. Like some people do, they do the touches.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen that way, I don't feel.
Yeah. Well,
And Damian Maya is also, just right before you go into your thing, has some striking.
that's what I was going to say. Damien, for a while, tried to be like a striker, and I think he got knocked out a couple times and went back to jiu-jitsu, but I think just having that striking, and I don't think it's that good, but just compared to a guy like Ben who always negated that and only specialized in
only
his
specializes in one
Yeah.
skill set.
Yeah, Damien went to the trouble with at least trying to strike for a little bit, and I think that'll make the difference. And I actually think his submissions, I think Askren's grappling is very overwhelming and could overwhelm Damian Maya, but I think Damian's just too slick on the ground. I just see him choking Ben Askren by the
Really
first
out.
or second round.
Jeez.
If that were to happen. I'd have to think about it more, but that's what I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What
So-
do you think, Dave?
That's gonna. I don't know enough Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And
Tell
I
me
don't
now,
know
who's
enough
winning? You got 5 seconds.
I don't give a fuck. That's my answer. It's
I
gonna be a
don't
good
give
fight.
a
I'll watch
shit.
it just to see what happens. You know.
Yeah.
I would like to see Ben Askren win on this one, just in the fact that Damian Maia is maybe what does he have, like two more fights in him if he's not going to go to get up into like the top 5. Like it would see Ben Askren winning, coming up ahead, and then having to fight 1 out of 3 people, which would be like Leon Edwards, Dos Anjos, or Darren Till. If you're putting him up against someone who, well, the Leon Edwards ones was kind of like a wrestler versus wrestler like background, but like, I mean, the Ben Askren fights to make are the ones where he fights strikers. Those are the ones where you want to see him fight. You want to see him overcome that adversity, which I feel like some people like really shit on him for. But it's like, wouldn't have been would we have been just as amazed if Ben Askren had gone out there and then fucking just put the work in on Masvidal and then submitted him?
Well, I don't think anything can top like a 5-second KO,
yeah.
but
Or just let's take the 5-second thing away. Like just as a KO goes to like a complete domination of like, and I don't know.
well, I don't know. You can't see that. I remember Damian Maia fighting, I think either Rick Story or Jake Ellenberger in Brazil, and getting like a first minute choke, like just dragging him down, fucking getting, and the crowd going crazy as soon as he's gonna. People would see that for Ben Askren. I think with Ben Askren, he does very well at marketing himself, because the Jorge Masvidal, everybody was expecting him to fight Darren Till, and we were all already getting excited for that, and then it turned out to be Masvidal, and we got even more excited for that. I think that's because Masvidal is a badass, but I think Ben Askren does very well at marketing himself. So it doesn't matter who you put him up against with. We're excited to see him fight a jiu-jitsu guy right now. I think we just want to see what does a specialist do in the UFC. So we're just excited about that, I think.
Yeah. Moving on to somebody we just talked about, Kobe Covington. How do you guys? Let's open it up to. How do you guys think he's going to do against Lawler?
I want to hear you guys.
I think he's gonna get him in the wrestling, man. I feel like he's trained with him. He knows his background. I don't know. I feel like I like Robbie Lawler, but I don't know. I feel
Ring
like
rust is a thing, do you think?
Not with Robbie Lawler.
But what about Kobe Covington? When is the last time he fought?
Yeah,
Chicago
when was the last
card.
time he fought?
Was it Damian
Was
Maia or RDA?
Versus RDA.
Okay, yeah.
That was in
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
But his cardio is like pretty fucking good.
Oh, it's good. I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna say it's doo doo.
Oh, it's good.
Doo-doo is Robbie Lawler's. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's gonna be like either it's gonna be like an all-out just like decision, or it's gonna be like a fucking
like
TKO
Robbie Lawler, yeah,
knockout.
knocking the.
Either
Robbie
gets
Lawler,
him or-
the way he did. I mean, how do you feel about that Ben Askren thing? Where like it's like, dude, he comes out, and I was like, dude, I don't see a fucking difference between this Robbie Lawler and the Robbie Lawler that stood in front of like fucking Rory McDonald.
It's really hard to think that he's not on. Like every
Right?
time I see him, I'm just like, how is he not
Why
on
is he not
the
juicing?
juice?
Dude, Jamba Juice, fucking
Well,
1
that's-
hour special.
Dude, I wanna
That's
be
what
on the
Colby
juice. That
is
sounds
saying
pretty
now.
cool.
Yeah.
Colby
Yeah.
is saying that he's on the juice.
Rory McDonald's been saying it since that fight that they had.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
How do you feel about what the hell's going
Like
on?
Rory McDonald was saying that he had like information or some shit. Like
Rory
he had
McDonald
some
said that he said if you saw the things that I saw, you would have known that this dude was fucking not only on the sauce but on extreme levels of like steroids that he didn't get caught for, and he said that to him. And then like not only that, but like Kobe Covington is, you know what his campaign now is against Robbie Lawler, right?
yeah, that he's on it.
No, he's on it, and also blaming Robbie Lawler for losing the fight of Tyron Woodley, and then essentially abandoning
Oh yeah, 'cause the
ATT.
picture that they
Yeah,
posted.
so they were like, so now he's like,
yeah.
I'm trying to fight this one for my gym, kind of bringing the Mike Perry /
Yeah.
Cowboy thing up, where it's like gym rivalry and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
which I think is a good start to his rivalry campaign. I think the only better thing he could do is throw boomerangs at people. You know what I mean?
No, he didn't,
the-
didn't even say he's like, oh, he was a diva. He was like, we were always like, having to accommodate for him because he
yeah,
was like the champion.
I think that's just
Jesus
Colby.
Christ, Carlos.
Yeah.
We're not gonna repeat that at all.
No,
On the show.
we're not brave
Jesus
enough.
Right.
No, I think that's just Colby trying to get under someone's skin. Just he's throwing everything at him. I actually think this is a really good fight for Colby. Robbie Lawler looked really good against Ben Askren. He was stuffing some of the takedowns, but after like the third minute, Ben Askren's style of just grabbing on, trotting forward.
Mhm.
After like the
Putting
third or
his
fourth
head next
minute,
to somebody's
he
crotch.
sort of like, I felt like Robbie almost not let him, but it's like he must be tired because, you know, Ben Askren was grabbing his arm, holding, and Robbie was just getting pushed up against the cage and sort of letting it happen. And I was like, oh shit, he's getting tired. And then 40 seconds later, the fight was over, you know. So if Robbie hasn't knocked down or finished Colby in the first 2 or 3 minutes, like in the first 2 minutes, Robbie hasn't had a meaningful exchange, I think Colby will tire him out. I think his style, the way he did to RDA, just pressing it forward, the way Chael Sonnen does without that much good striking, but mainly pressure, I think he'll get the win.
Well, yeah, I mean,
because,
I once finished in the first 3 minutes, and I was pretty tired too.
Are you doing the lay and pray too?
Yeah.
The lame pray. Yeah, the lame pray is something that I've done multiple times. Where I
Hey,
just,
you
like,
know
close
what?
my eyes and hope that like
I like that.
I have a chance to get just 1 star more up on Tinder.
you get the north-south position.
We're starting north south.
So one thing that I think is super okay. So I'm starting to do a lot of these like play out things with me in my brain. Right, I'm doing it for not only for the Poirier versus Khabib thing in Connor in my brain. Right, I'm doing it for what pans out for DC at this next fight because you're doing like projections for the year-end cards at this point, right?
Yeah.
And what's gonna? I mean, you were excited for these fights at the beginning of the year, but now you're excited for the next fights, right? And where I'm excited for this division versus Colby Covington versus Robbie Lawler, I'm excited for Robbie Lawler to fuck this whole plan up and fuck up Colby Covington, ruining that shot, aka making that fucking shot up at Kamaru Usman for Masvidal, and then opening up the lay of the land for the division in the sense of if Nate Diaz beats up Pettis at 170, you have a straight shot for Nate Diaz to win one more and go for the title. If he wants to do that, because the thing is, like, Nate Diaz, he's just so like, fuck this. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, do you really feel like he's going to step into the rankings and not be like, fuck this?
Yeah, I feel like Dana, I don't know. I feel like, will Dana even give him a shot? I feel like he'd have to beat like everybody in order to get a title shot.
I think the best thing Nate could hope for is a third fight with McGregor, which I think will happen.
Yeah.
Whatever Dana cares, I think if McGregor wants it and if Nate wants it, it'll happen, and I think it will happen because it's an easy payday for both of them. But who do you think Robbie should fight? If he goes in there and he beats Colby the way he was beating Ben, but actually gets a finish, if he does that to Colby and actually gets a finish, who do you think
Robbie should fight
next? Because him versus Nate would be kind of cool because
Bring up the rankings
he
again.
fought Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie versus Nate would be kind of cool.
That would be interesting.
Robbie versus...
Are they even the same weight class? What, he
Well,
fought Pettis,
what
so-
weight class am I?
No, that's the one.
This
So,
one. What about
what
Tyron
about Robbie
Woodley?
versus Till?
Who?
Tyrrell's too low.
Who?
Darren Till?
Robbie Lawler versus
That'd
Till?
be a good fight, but I think Darren Till versus Leon Edwards makes a little more sense.
Yeah, especially because they were talking mad shit in the last.
And they're both from the
card.
UK. You could sell that out.
Oh, you could sell that. Well, that arena sells out every single time they fucking go up there. I mean,
That's because they only go up there once a year or some shit. So.
I mean, if you want to host like a big European fucking like the way they're doing it in Melbourne, Australia, where they're gonna go for a top gate because they know they're gonna fill it up. I mean, some of those fights. I mean, I don't know. Would it be like a Darren Till versus Leon Edwards? I don't know.
That could be. I mean, I totally think that could be. It's a promoter right, but maybe that could be a co-main event to something bigger, I guess.
Or maybe a rematch with Tyron Woodley.
Boom, done. That'd be pretty fun.
That'd be a good fight.
Well, now Darren Till, I feel like even in that Masvidal fight, like he still kind of fought in a way where I was like, this is reminiscent of an old Darren Till who hasn't, like you said, learned his lesson. But I feel like now he's two losses back to back. Like I feel like he needs to go back to the drawing board. I mean,
Go up and wait.
yeah.
I wanted to see him go up and wait and fight Paulo Costa.
Oof.
That'd be a
That'd be a
good
good fight. Let's can you bring up the next card?
Wouldn't that be a good fight?
The UFC. It's the Valentino Shevchenko.
Isn't Michael Chase up
240.
there too?
Yeah,
Michael
go one up
Chiesa.
from that.
Oh, yeah.
Go up one from that again.
That guy.
Go one up from that.
Don't you talk about my mother.
So this is the debut of it's in Honduras, or where is this at? The Area Arena.
Who's the
The
Shevchenko?
Antel Arena.
The Antel Arena. It's in where?
That is un escenario multiplataforma. La emoción es de todos.
Damn,
Oh,
that was
God.
good. Where is this arena?
That was
Hold
pretty
on.
good, bro.
Yeah, I like that shit.
Let's see. It is in Villa Española, Montevideo, Uruguay.
Uruguay. So like that's okay. So I was asking myself this. This kind of makes sense. They're bringing the UFC to Uruguay for the first time, so they wanted to give them a title fight. And what's the title fight they're doing? It's Shevchenko versus.
Oh, Liz Carmouche, bro.
Ooh, Liz
So
Carmouche.
It's a rematch.
How do you got? Oh, that's a rematch.
Yeah, they fought a long ass time ago.
And then, wait, what's Carmouche's record? 13-6.
13-6.
Jeez, that's not that. I mean,
Dude, but Liz Carmouche brings it though.
yeah.
She brings the
But-
pain, baby.
Shevchenko.
But Valentina's like
I don't know.
another level.
Valentina just on another level, man. That last knockout makes her like she's coming in there in God mode.
I mean, Jessica Ai's like way different. Like Liz Carmouche could beat like Jessica Ai's ass in my eyes.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point.
You know, she actually did really well against Ronda Rousey, especially
Yeah.
considering that was Ronda Rousey's first UFC fight when she had all the hype. Like, Liz Carmouche almost had her
Face crank.
in a rear naked. Yeah, yeah. It was literally that one and no, it was not. That one and Sarah McMahon were the two toughest fights that Ronda Rousey had prior to losing, and they both. Those were it. Liz Carmouche. Well, I guess Miesha Tate. Also,
Dude, I love
but
Miesha Tate, though.
I mean, yeah.
I love her.
Oh, dude, when she was throwing
she's
all
so
those-
I
hot.
love her.
No, I get you, bro.
I fucking.
I'm right there with you, bro. No,
I liked her first. You hate her compared to how much I like her.
That's what I was gonna say.
I called dibs on it.
I don't know. When she first came on, I was like, dude, I'll cook you lobster. And Kevin was like, dude,
Yeah.
you're
Dude, I'll do
talking
your
to a
laundry.
TV right now, and I'm like, dude, I'll do your
When
laundry.
she
I'll
first
fix
came
your
on, I
toenails.
first came on.
Oh,
Good times.
dude. That's the one thing that about like all these fighting podcasts that I see is that no one has any fucking shame in saying like, dude, that girl is a great fighter and she's hot as fuck. They like, oh,
She
yeah.
is the bee's
She is
knees.
that bee's knees. What's the rest of that card? I mean, on that Shevchenko card, what is L6
There's like
in there?
one other one that's like decent.
Yo,
Which
we
is?
got our boy Mike Perry in the
Oh, it's
co-main
Ron-
event.
Yeah.
Wait.
I
No.
can't see Shit. Oh yeah, Mike
Wait,
Perry's
go
fighting.
straight up. Go straight up. Oh, that is that card?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that is the main event. Is Valentina?
And Mike Perry. Mike Perry just came off a badass win to the other cowboy.
Oh yeah.
Who's his opponent?
Vicente Luque.
Damn, it sounds French. I don't like him.
I think,
Listen,
yeah.
I don't know.
that's really weird. I'm a huge Mike Perry fan. I think he's
Yeah.
like personality wise, he's got what it needs
Dude,
to take.
this dude has reach. Look at his opponent. He's got 75.5 inches
71.
versus 71.
You know who called him
Holy-
out? Mike Perry. The guy who just fought against Nico Price. The
Oh yeah, he
black dude
did.
who
Dan
won?
Hooker?
Dan Hooker.
No.
No.
It
This
was
the
the
other
black-
guy.
He just fought like this last weekend.
Yeah, he
Oh
fought.
no, he
on the-
called somebody else out.
He was this black dude. I don't know, but he did really good, and he
Right there,
called
okay.
out. Or him and Mike Perry are like talking right now.
Oh
Like
really?
they're like exchanging, like, oh, you
So-
want to fight? Like, yeah, when you're fighting, we'll talk.
I was wrong. I don't know if this
shit.
just happened, but I was wrong about that Ozdemir.
Hey,
Oh yeah.
thank you.
The Ozdemir is straight up like fighting. Get that thing over. Is fighting Ir Latifi on this card actually, which is the only other one. Ir Latifi's badass.
All these names confuse me.
I mean, Ozdemir is like Ozdemir is like I don't know. For him to fight DC or what?
I feel like he won that fight against Dominic Reyes, man.
I think that too, man. And that's when he won that. I was like, all right, like it's still a win for my boy. Just the same way if like you guys were like, oh man, I went out to a party and they were like, oh yeah, this girl got all like we were just messed up and then we did it. And I'd be like, oh yeah, it's still a win for my boy, but it's like it's kind of a little clouded by like the drugs
What?
and shit.
That's the only way.
I was like, I don't know. It's like it's still a win for my boy, but it's a little clouded. You know what I mean? Like I don't really know if like I really feel like it was that big of a win for Dominic Reyes. I feel like it damages stock a little in the fact that we're like, can he beat a high level dude? Because now he's gonna fight.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Chris Weidman. And
Yeah,
it's like,
wasn't
dude, is
that
he gonna
fight
get
where he
rocked?
called out John Jones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like John Jones.
Yeah.
That was
Coming for you.
that
Yeah,
was-
that was hilarious. Like, I'm coming for you.
That's like, is
And it
that-
was
yeah.
like,
You can tell that even he was like, I don't know.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
he was
They were like,
shit,
Coach, what is like? You say it. You say that shit. All right.
Coach, I barely won.
Now.
I barely won this fight, coach.
Say it so
pin
they
you to
can
the
hear
floor.
you.
Let them hear your strength.
Oh, Jesus Christ, just ban the shit. I mean, that's the only thing I really have left on that one. Like, I'm. This is next weekend, right? Going in, Shevchenko. Yeah, well, it's next weekend. It's Kobe Covington, and then the weekend after that, Shevchenko versus Gamrooch. What is that actually gonna play, like time wise in Central Time?
Who gives a fuck?
I always care about when I can.
He
drink it.
doesn't give a shit.
Okay, let's go to the card after that. That's the real
That's the
banger.
real card. Let's end it. Let's see what's up on that then. UFC 241. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got 3 bangers at the top.
Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic.
Are we predicting these?
Let's predict these.
Yeah, because
Oh,
the next one's gonna
shit.
be. We're gonna what? Are we actually gonna do the live reaction to this fight card when it happens?
UFC 240.
We gotta see
one.
about that. I need to see when I'm coming back from vacation on that one.
Eh,
pedo, güey, no mames, eh.
My life sucks.
Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic. Oof. That's got the immigrant mentality.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I like that fucking Carabib.
Cocksucker.
Dude, this
That's
dude
so
is
much
fucking.
emotion.
This dude's a fucking Nephilim. He's
Yeah.
6'3" with
Yeah.
80-inch reach. Jesus Christ.
Dude, so that's one of the things like okay, so let's talk about like the Nate Diaz holdout to the Masvidal potential holdout for big fight versus title. Stipe Miocic is like somebody who held out for the back-to-back title fight. I think
And it's been like a full year now.
at the
He won.
expense of his career. I mean, he's still firefighting, but it's like he's,
like that fucking
he's
steel
a
pick.
firefighter, right?
Yeah.
And he fights professionally. And when he won the title as like the heavyweight champion, he's still part-time firefighter.
He was like, yeah, I
Fights
gotta
fires
go to
and
work.
Heavyweights, bro.
Yeah. He put a fire in a rear naked choke, put it out, put that shit to sleep.
And then he rescued
with
a
the
kid.
hose.
With the hose. No, with his bare hands. It was.
What do you guys think? You guys changing on this one, or you feel it's gonna
So
be the same
I want to
thing?
say I had first of all I had Stipe beating Ngannou, but I had Stipe losing against DC.
It's
What?
true. I
Yeah,
saw the whole
right?
thing.
Because exactly no because
No, yeah, because we were like disagreeing. on it.
that's when yeah I don't know, it's like people were saying, oh, he's gonna get knocked out by Ngannou, and then he didn't, which didn't surprise me. And then when he didn't get knocked out, people were like, oh, he's obviously gonna beat DC. It's like, no, watch DC's fights against all the heavyweights.
It's
He
funny.
was
Why are
undefeated.
you mocking me live on a podcast?
not
Those were
mocking
my
you.
exact words.
Not mocking you just because you had the exact opposite picks I had, but no. But honestly, I think this fight's a lot closer. If you watch the fight, Stipe did very well. He was doing really good. In fact, I don't think DC was winning the fight until the last 35 seconds, and even then, it's not like he was kicking Stipe's ass. They were just going back and forth, and then DC just caught him. So, I would still pick DC, but. I thought Stipe could win last time after watching them fight. Even though he got knocked out, if you actually really watch them fight, I think Stipe could definitely win the rematch. I still have DC for the exact same reasons, but much closer fight.
It's crazy. Chael Sonnen was talking about this too, and I was like, man, he's got a really good point. He was talking about how DC coming back to heavyweight, how much like that not cutting that weight, he's like he hits like a whole another fucking level.
Yeah.
And like,
So he hits harder. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Same with
okay.
Masvidal, Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
Like people don't have to cut weight.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. So yeah,
Pettis knocked out
yeah.
Steven.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Luke Rockhold. Oh no, wait, no. No, but yeah, it's gonna be crazy because he's hit like
Man has a
heavyweight,
broken jaw.
and I feel like if he wins this, dude, like it only proves furthermore that he needs to have a rematch with John Jones at heavyweight, just
Yeah.
because it's like that's
Yeah.
his real shit. That's where he fucking slammed, all those dudes that were like twice his fucking height and shit.
Yeah.
Trajectory wise for DC, the best fight for him to win this fight is gonna bring the year-end card to 1-1 only. I think final, like, ending, which is I don't think DC has anything to prove to go down to light heavyweight. I think he needs to have, John Jones prove himself, like as a champ, come up and really prove his legacy at heavyweight, and I think that's the fight to make.
Especially because John Jones like doesn't really have that many people left. It's just like what Johnny Walker and maybe like another person.
Well, his last fight was the closest fight. You know, I think you called this. I think a lot of the things you were saying were true, which I didn't believe because I was like, I didn't think. But watching the fight, I was like, you know, now thinking of Johnny Walker, I'm like, I definitely want to see him against that. If that's how John Jones is looking, you know, it makes everything more exciting now. You know?
Yeah.
What were you saying? You were making that it was like, oh shit, when you said it, like fucking didn't realize that. You were talking about like how you were saying something about the PED testing, and you were like, isn't it kind of weird?
Oh yeah, that I said that after the whole PED thing, Jones hasn't finished anyone except Gustafsson. He went 5 rounds with OSP, which is a lot closer fight than it should have been. Owen St. Preux. He did finish Gustafsson, but he went 5 rounds with Anthony Smith, and now he went 5 rounds with a split decision for Thiago Santos. And I said, I think he's always been the best, but he's no longer taking PEDs, and we're seeing him being human now. I mean, last 3 of his 4 fights, and I know this is kind of weird criticism. It's like he only won 4 of them, but he didn't finish. I know it's like he still won them, but for a guy who's always finished guys to now go 3 5-round decisions, 1 of them a split decision against guys he looks like he would have clearly beaten.
Especially
easy.
these last 2, he's looked way like, what's going on?
Yeah, and I remember even
What's
Chael
happening
Sonnen.
here, bud?
Yeah.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Performance anxiety. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
1 out of 4 men. It's okay.
I mean, so we landed. I mean, the thing for me and Santos was just like, can this guy close the gap? Can he like close the distance on this guy and flurry on him, right? And I said that, and he did it a couple times, but it was not impressive. It was like maybe 1 or 2 shots. I mean, John Jones still has an iron chin, and I feel like he took him in stride and stepped back from that. Would the fight have been different without that essentially demolition of his knee that was insane? Like,
Yeah, well, all right.
Oh, you're looking at it.
I don't know. You know, I never look at anytime somebody gets injured, even with fights like Carlos Condit versus Tyron Woodley that ended very weird. I don't look at like, yeah, but if this, if that, it's like that's how it happened. The reason people get injured is because when you have a guy that's like, you know, doing that, you react differently. You know, that's just the thing. Somebody can kick your ass just by making you move in a weird way. And if you're somebody who's not who's out of shape or is just not in that shape that this person is to even react to him, you'll get
light
injured.
heavyweight
You know?
rankings. I mean, in light heavyweight rankings, if you were to have Thiago Santos come back in a year, what fight do you give him?
Is he gonna be back in a year?
A year is going to be minimum. Like it's gonna be.
He's done, bro. Let it go. It's over.
Stick a fork in him. He's fucking done.
Isn't he a paratrooper for like the Brazilian army? Yeah,
Jesus
he's
Christ.
like jumps out of planes and shit. He's like
Jesus
military.
shit.
Yeah.
Bring him back and give him to fucking. I don't know. Throw him at Anthony Smith. That's
in a
it.
year.
In a year.
That's like, I don't know. Are
That's
you sure
tough.
it's like he can fight in a year? Or in a year he can start training again and like walking on it.
Within a year he'll be training to fight. Yeah, you're right. That's a great point to make, because people always said like, oh, in a year he can fight again. It's like in a year he'll be in a fight camp.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't just come off of something and just like, all right, I'm ready to fucking fight. All right.
What's the next fight on that card besides the DC one, which I just so you guys know, I have Miocic fight.
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah.
Who did you have in the last fight?
Miocic again.
Me too.
Well, the thing is, like with DC, I don't know if there's something that kills me about the way that he fights.
DC?
Yeah. Like it's like
Choose your next words carefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe your last is king.
yeah. So here's the thing with Cormier, like I appraise his wrestling. I feel like he's for him to manhandle
Get to
Henderson.
the part where you hate him.
Yeah, Henderson and like flip him on, like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
the first time that I saw him do that to John Jones, and for him to just stand right back up, and I'm like, all right, cool. That's stick a fork in that shit. That's done. So when he beat Stipe and he knocked him out the way he did, I'm like, oh, maybe he does have like some legit striking where I feel like, I mean, he trains at AKA. The guy can kickbox.
Yeah, a bit-
The guy can kickbox.
Did you see his fight against Antonio Silva from like 7 years ago
Yeah.
in Strikeforce, or his fight against Babyface Assassin? What's his name?
Yeah.
Josh Barnett.
Yeah, Josh Barnett.
Josh Barnett. I mean, he knocked out a lot of guys. See, that's why, And with Stipe, although I love Stipe, DC has never lost, and Stipe had lost to JDS, which there's no shame in. And who's the other guy he lost to? Who's
Stipe? Fucking the big boy, Steve. Stefan Struve.
Stefan
Oh,
Struve.
Stefan Struve.
Yeah, I know. And
Which is weird.
yeah, it's weird. I mean,
'Cause everyone whoops on that dude.
yeah, well,
That's different.
he's a guy that could have been a lot more than what he ended up being, I think.
are more than what you have become.
All right. Actually, we got
I don't
like
know
the
what's
perfect,
up with me.
we
I
got the
like
perfect
that.
lighting for it.
Yeah, I
too.
like
I
it.
just keep doing movie quotes. I don't know
I
why.
like it.
It's the CBD. It's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly think DC striking is so underrated. I think it's similar to Cain Velasquez. If you look at the last like 30 seconds, he was walking Stipe down, and Stipe is
He
way
was.
taller.
That I do appreciate that he
And
was
I think
like,
that's badass. As soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, we're seeing that. And then he got knocked out soon afterwards. Now, that being said, in the clinch, Stipe was landing some good body shots. He was fighting very well. He was doing a lot better than I thought he would. But, dude, even against Volkan Ozdemir, the guy's like 6'3", 6'4". The guy's a kickboxer.
Yeah.
He lost to Volkan in like the first 3 minutes, but where he started losing was not in the striking; it was in the wrestling. He couldn't get a takedown, and then he relaxed a little bit. And by the last minute, it looked like they could have stopped it. He was walking Volkan down. The guy had like 6 or 7 inches on him, height wise, reach wise, and he was walking him down. I think he's very underrated striker.
Remember when
DC is.
Travis Brown looked like a killer and he fucking did that Superman punch knockout on him? Man,
Yeah.
dude, Travis Brown for a minute looked like unstoppable. And
yeah,
shit.
that training really.
And then he went to
ruined
that
him.
Tarverity and
Head movement.
head movement. No,
My body. It's true. It's like a head movement. Dude, I can say that to anyone all day. It's like, yeah, hey, dude, stop getting hit in the face because you're not moving. You're not moving your face out of the rod.
glitch.
Move. Win.
Yeah, win. You're not winning.
I don't know. It's like it's ridiculous. Like Travis Brown. My favorite Travis Brown knockout was like the one he did against.
Brendan Schaub. Oh.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
No, it was the one where he kept on throwing the
Alistair Overeem?
Alistair Overeem, where he kept on throwing the front kick,
okay.
and then
That
eventually.
was stupid because he kept doing the same
He kept on doing
move.
the
Like,
same
he's
thing.
trying to kick your face.
Yeah,
he
and
got
then
knocked
Joe
out.
Rogan's
oh
like,
my
why isn't he
God.
blocking this? Like, he keeps on throwing it left and right, and then
He got hit with some nasty body shots.
Alistair went like this. He was like, "Yo,
Remember
what's up,
his
son?"
knees to the body.
I'm so
yeah.
surprised they didn't call that fight,
He,
dude.
he got hit with some nasty knees to the body.
and
I
he
mean,
just went down, and then like
he
the
was
referee-
getting hit. I felt
Yeah.
bad, and then he got knocked out over. And I was like, really, with the front kick?
that he was just doing all day long.
Yeah, I was just like, oh
That was
my
just
God.
tough. It was tough to see.
You remember his fight with Brendan Schaub? Oh man,
Yeah.
that one was like, whew.
Was that his last one? That was his last one.
Brendan
wasn't
Schaub's last one.
it? Yeah.
I think that's
That's
what made him
when
retire.
Joe Rogan took him aside in the podcast and was just like, "What do you think you do against Cain Velasquez?" He's like, "Honestly, I think you'd be surprised." He's like, "Really?"
Which is the name of his new
'Cause I-
stand-up special.
Yeah. He's like, "Really?" Because I think you'd be surprised. He's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I think he'd
Yeah.
kick your ass." I was like, "Jesus
Yeah,
Christ!"
but I also thought Joe was like, fuck you, Joe. Your
Dude, he
comedy
took out,
sucks.
that was
How about that?
That was
Oh shit!
How about your stand-up sucks?
yeah. How would you stand up dude next to Bill Burr? And it's like, and Joe Rogan's like, honestly, I think you'd be surprised. And then it's like,
know.
I think he'd kick your ass. That'd be fucking the worst.
Yeah,
What's the follow-up fight to this fight on that card, which is gonna be? Oh yeah, this is the. Oh man, this is just such a great fucking.
Let's just take a minute.
I know it's. You got 3 fights one after another that I wouldn't go to the bathroom.
Please wrap these fighters in bubble wrap, man,
Yeah.
so that they don't get fucking injured like a week out.
Yeah, and I mean they're gonna
We're
make
talking
weight except for Yoel Romero, but it's like
man, like, I'll show you.
welterweight co-main event: Anthony Pettis versus Nate Diaz. At what? We have it at welterweight 170. We have one guy 34, Nate Diaz. Anthony Pettis 32. After an impressive victory.
Nate Diaz will enjoy a 4-inch reach advantage.
I wish I had a 4-reach advantage.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know. I asked myself the other day when we pulled out next to each other. 170, 72 reach advantage. 70. What's Nate Diaz?
76.
Oh, really? It's not that bad.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
It's taller for most people are like, yeah, at 72 or less.
For this one, man, I know I said, I didn't want to predict it, and I don't want to predict it, but I'm going to go ahead and predict it. I feel I don't know. I keep going back to like the times that Anthony Pettis lost, like when he lost against Max Holloway.
Oh shit.
When he
that was
lost,
tough.
Yeah, but that was at 145.
I understand.
Way different.
And when he lost against Tony Ferguson, like there's something there where he sees like adversity or like. Except with the Stephen Thompson fight, but like every other fight, like when he sees adversity, or like when they walk him down.
Benson Henderson fight when he first won the belt, that was 5 rounds. That was 2 rounds apiece going into the 5th round. That's when he pulled that Showtime kick out. You know, that was another one.
But like with like RDA, and like
then
when
Benson Henderson, he armbarred him, right?
Yeah, in the first fight, but in the second fight, I mean,
I'm just saying, like when he gets like put through like when they take his best shit and they like keep walking forward and they keep like I don't know, he quits, man.
I don't know.
So
I gotta push
I'm
back,
have
Dave.
to agree a little bit with him because the thing is like
That's
Anthony
coming from a
Pettis.
place of pain.
Yeah, because I love Anthony Pettis. And
I love Anthony Pettis,
hurt me
and
so much.
Anthony Pettis was like gonna be our key to watching a pay-per-view in Milwaukee eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like I'm super disappointed in that. But like the one thing for Anthony Pettis to me that knocks me on my ass is that coming back to rewatch that Tony Ferguson fight and coming back to watch like. I mean, Anthony Pettis is just like, he's a born fighter. He's a fighter. And he'll fucking stand in the fucking pocket with people for a long time. But put him up against the best guys, he's not going to win every exchange.
Okay, here, let me just say.
That being said, hold up. Before we
you already picked your guy. No, I'm just kidding.
That being said, fucking Nate Diaz also has been hit and he's been hurt by like fucking really versatile strikers like Josh Thompson. And shit like that, and fucking Anthony Pettis fucking knocked out Stephen Thompson. Like he's got a whole nother level of power now at this weight division. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's gonna be a good ass fight.
And Anthony Pettis and Stephen Thompson
thing.
played like a kicky match for like the first round. Like they just fucking beat the living daylights out of each other's legs. So it was like super intense.
No, I would probably side with Nate. So I see where you guys are coming from, but. The fights you're saying that he lost, I think there was a period in time where Anthony Pettis was just not right with his training.
Is he a Taekwondo guy?
Yeah, he came up as a Taekwondo striker with. See, the difference with him is he had some killer ground game, so he really loved to throw his kicks because if he ended up on the ground, he was really good off his back. In fact, most of his submissions have come off his back, triangles, the armbar against Benson Henderson and stuff. Nate Diaz
too, right?
Yeah. And Nate Diaz is also really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's known as a boxer, so very intriguing matchup. But I wouldn't say he breaks. In fact, the RDA fight to me is proof that he didn't break. It was very close for him to get armbarred or kimura'd, I think, in the first round. In fact, there was like 2 minutes where he had an arm isolated RDA, and he was very close to pulling it, and I don't know how it happened, and at some point, he only had one arm, and at another point, I think Pettis grabbed his own arm. It was like such a tug of war, and he really could have quit right there. He ended up losing the fight, but he won all 5 rounds, and this was RDA, who looked unstoppable, went on to knock out Donald Cerrone
too.
Maybe, and that's why it's more impressive because he went to knock out Donald Cerrone in his first title defense, RDA, in the first like minute and a half. I mean, that's a guy, and Anthony Pettis went 5 rounds with him, so I don't think, against Benson Henderson he didn't quit.
Every single time.
Whereas Nate Diaz lost against Benson Henderson, he got leg kicked to death. Benson Henderson fought smart. I think it's such an intriguing matchup. I can see Nate Diaz overwhelming Anthony Pettis the way Tony Ferguson did. I can totally see that, but. I don't think. I think now we're not going to see Pettis quit or I think that was him in a different weight class against Max Holloway. Which, by the way, I saw that fight was very close up until Max Holloway, up until like the last minute and a half where Max Holloway got really loose, but it was very close. And I think a huge part had to do with the weight cut. I think he's right where he should be. Nate hasn't fought in 3 years.
That's huge. Factor,
that should factor in. Now, when he was gone last time, he came back and fought Michael Johnson, who was pretty highly ranked and did very well. Then fought, McGregor, soon after that and won. So I think if Nate's been training the way we've known to
imagine that Nate Diaz versus Poirier fight. Imagine what that would have been like.
I know. Did you see? I was gonna say, did you see the pictures that he released when he did like a whole video of like him in training for that fight? Did you
For
see that?
Michael Johnson?
No, for Dustin Poirier, that it never happened.
Oh, really?
He looked so jacked.
I don't
like
think
he had
he
abs.
Gets out of shape. I don't think he gets out of shape. I think he just
No, but like
does
you know how
it.
normally he never has abs.
Yeah.
Like he looked a whole nother level. Like he had like the
Really?
abs on the
Yeah.
side. And
He
Oh,
looked
he had the little
jacked.
riblets and everything.
Yeah,
He looked the best when he
He got
came
the
back
spare
against
rib.
Michael Johnson. When he came back
Fucking
against Michael
Bill.
Johnson, he looked the best he had ever looked, and that was
Damn.
after being gone.
You
for
know
a
what I
while,
thought
so.
Michael Johnson like looked great in, and that the fucking Justin Gaethje
Oh,
fight,
yeah.
and then he got fucking spit flying out of his face, knocked the
Yeah.
fuck out.
Yeah.
You know, and what do you think about Justin Gaethje versus fucking Edson Barboza? What was it? What's the next fight he's doing? Justin Gaethje versus
It's in Barbosa, the second one, no?
Is
It's
it
a
Edson
rematch.
Barbosa?
Yeah.
First of all, I almost
Wait.
don't like that. It's like why?
Edson Barboza versus Paul Felder. Sorry.
Yeah, and that is a rematch. That's true.
Oh, is it Paul Felder versus
Yeah.
Edson
Yeah,
Barbosa?
And Justin
Yeah.
Gaethje
And that
versus-
is a rematch
And
as
Justin
well.
Gaethje versus Cowboy. That's what happened.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
that's
shit.
true.
That's what happened.
Okay.
That's a fight night mainlining card. That's gonna be like after post. That's gonna
That's
be
right.
post
Yeah,
Poirier.
he's right. Yeah.
So that's gonna be a fucking banger.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
I-
What do you guys got for that?
What do you guys
looking at
got?
me? Jesus Christ.
No, I look at you because your facial expressions sometimes are like, you little
That's
bitch.
interesting.
It's real good.
I don't know. Justin Gaethje, I think.
It all depends because he's training with Trevor Whitman. Trevor Whitman's like a fucking amazing coach, man. I mean, he's the guy that trains Rose Namajunas and all that. It just depends, but he like it's like he's got this amazing coach and like these like the other fights before, like his last 3 fights, he like never like fucking listened to him.
No.
But now he's starting to put the shit together. He even said himself, he's like, yeah, I don't like.
It's
this.
finally
Like,
connecting.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: Cowboy versus Barboza, because that's not a fight that has actually happened, has it?
Yeah, pretty sure it has.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cowboy jabbed him in the face. He dropped him, and then he put him in a rear naked
Yeah,
choke, right?
that's exactly what happened. Which Barboza was winning.
Yeah.
He was winning. Yeah, that happened. Cowboys fight everybody.
Yeah, that's
155 and 170.
holy shit, man. The Cowboy's a fucking
And Edson
trooper.
Barbosa too also fought like the other
Dude,
half.
Edson Barboza is a fucking gatekeeper. If you feel like it's like, has he ever gone for the title? He's always fallen one short, right?
I can't remember.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
No, but
For Gaethje to knock him out the way he did, and then for Barboza,
that was a scary knockout.
That was a scary
He looked, and it was keeping with the theme of ESPN KOs because that was right after Stephen Thompson got knocked out by Pettis, and then before that it was Darren Till getting knocked out by Jorge Masvidal. Those were 3 in a row, and those were the 3 worst knockouts. It was literally Darren Till getting flatlined, Stephen Thompson getting flatlined, and then Barboza. He looked like he saw a ghost. He was like, he was just like stiffened up. It was scary, you know.
It's all right.
A guy who's fought all the strikers.
And it was like right after we saw him too fight.
Dude, this has been a good
Dan
year
Hooker,
for
right?
UFC.
Yeah, Dan Hooker. Yeah.
Compared to 2018, there was a lull in 2018. I think this
So
year is
true.
a
So
banger,
true.
man.
Yeah.
This year's a fucking banger for fucking fight cards.
Fuck yeah.
And I feel like it's more in accordance with the rankings too. Like they're actually respecting like who's up and it's not these all. I mean they are doing that too, but it's
Entertainment
before it was,
fights,
yeah,
yeah.
before it's just like whoever talks shit, okay, you're getting the next. You're
I think that
fighting
might
the
have fed
person.
into the 2018's lull. Like, like, hey, this shit
Yeah.
tucker's going to come out here. But then it's like, if you have shit tuckers coming out, you get more fights, which this ironically did not have a shit talking, like where a pretest to it. But
Well,
like
they had
Ngannou
Colby.
versus Derek Lewis, whereas like there was no shit talking before and everyone just thought it was going to be a banger. And then it was not a banger, but then like everyone talking shit came in to put on mediocre fights. It's like,
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Jesus Christ.
he keeps on moving his mic like
No,
when he's
no,
not looking.
he moved it and
Yeah,
I
he's like-
acted like I'm a.
Jesus.
Fucking scary.
Well, because sometimes he's just like talking away from us. Like, all right, let's
but
bring it
this-
back here.
This thing actually does move too, but whatever. I mean,
The one that's getting me is Jose. Every time he like moves, like bang,
yeah, I know.
bang, he's like bitch slapping his microphone
I
every
know,
single
I'm so
time. Like,
sorry.
God damn,
I
I like
said
it,
that-
boom. Yeah, just like
Sorry,
Jesus.
I just feel like I'm a fighter now.
No.
What's the third fight on that? Just to pull it up. Let's finish this.
It's gonna be
Where's he
Joel
having?
Romero.
Oh,
Versus
jeez.
What were you saying, Evan?
Paulo Costa.
No, what I was just gonna say about the 2018, I think it sort of came full circle with the shit talking. People realize, especially with Ben getting knocked out, I think that was the cherry on top for like, all right, it's
End
not
of the
so
era.
cool to like, it is cool to shit talk, but it's just like we've seen
talk shit, get slapped.
Yeah, it's like we've seen the shit talker, especially after Khabib beat his ass.
Oh,
we've
shit.
seen it go too far, and we've seen, kind of like, all right, we've taken it too far. We kind of like the real guy more, and it just sort of came full circle. But anyway, we got Yoel
Romero versus Paulo Costa.
Man, I've got Yoel. That's who I've got. I'll explain why. It should be pretty obvious, but who do you guys have?
Yeah, I have to go.
Damn, there's quite a big difference between their age.
Huge difference. Yoel
Yoel Romero's at 42. And Paulo
Hey,
Costa.
let's do a new
28.
segment where we do Young Jamie.
Young
Who do you Jaime? Who do you choose?
Who would you rather blow? Come on.
This is on stats alone, since you have actually this actually
Joel would be more girthy.
this actually helps a lot because like since you haven't seen tons of these dudes fights, off these stats alone, who do you choose?
Oh, I'm gonna pick Yoel Romero.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I like his choice.
What's his record
know why
compared
we're
to him?
doing this
13,
Dude, I like it. It's
13
funny as
and
shit.
3, 2 of which are to my boy Bobby Knuckles, but
Bobby
13 and 3.
fucking
That's
Knuckles.
dude. And his wins. If you look at his wins, they're nasty finishes. The way he finished Lyoto
Chris
Machida,
Weidman, Chris
Chris Weidman. He also knocked out, I think, Gerald. No, that was somebody else. There's somebody he knocked out early in his career with a flying knee.
Oh.
In, like,
he
his
throws
first
those.
fight.
Him and Masvidal practice those together.
Yeah.
In camp, and they're like in this big Cuban like fucking secretive like we train this way, we do these things. But I guess like whoever's training Yoel Romero and like Masvidal is like being like it's like don't for Jesus. I don't really know what it is, but they're planning things out strategically where it's like we're gonna knock them out with this. They practice this one move over and over again, and they were like we don't know where you're gonna throw this, but you're gonna throw this and you're gonna kill him.
That's sort of what that's sort of how McGregor trained. He would train. He showed in the Ultimate Fighter that he would train without his gear for specific like he's gonna
Body
land
parts too, right?
Land specific body parts like this
The
part of the
liver.
bone is gonna hit that part of the bone.
Yeah.
This is gonna hit this, and he would just
And
practice.
he was like
that.
naming the bone
Yeah,
parts.
he
I
was
like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
This dude.
He
This
was
dude
shit,
has
really?
specific
surgical
things, yeah.
precision.
Ivan, that thing's like fucking. All right, there you go.
It's because Ivan touches it so much.
Is it? I think that's that Lonky one that I used to have.
The what?
I'm actually gonna replace him. But anyways, I really feel like, I mean, the biggest thing that I think Joe Rogan's pointed out is that the left hand moving backwards hit that he did on Jose Aldo McGregor did. He practiced that a shit ton.
And so did Masvidal with the knee.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, let's open this side to hypotheticals before we move on from Yo Romero. But in a Conor McGregor Masvidal fight, who do you actually have on that?
Masvidal. I think it's
Masvidal.
similar to Nate Diaz. I had Nate Diaz. I think the fucking got Masvidal. I think they train very similar, and I think they respect each other. But fucking Masvidal for sure.
He's so fucking well rounded. He's got shit that we haven't even seen, especially like wrestling style and shit.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think
like
his
he
wrestling's
could
much
easily
better.
be the next champion, and this is. I know I'm gonna get maybe some shit for it, but I think he could easily be the next champion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the way McGregor beat Jose Aldo in 13 seconds after so much hype, very similar to the way Jorge beat Ben Askren with that much hype. And it's actually way harder because it's easier for you to catch a striker that you know will strike with him because... See, I always thought McGregor's toughest fight would have been against Mendes because Mendes doesn't want to strike him. He'll take him down. And you saw he faced more adversity. So when he fought Jose, it's very impressive 13-second knockout, but it's a guy that was going to stand with you. The fact that Jorge was able to get a 5-second knockout over a guy that did not want to strike with him at all, and he literally had to put all his eggs in that one basket. Now, he thought even if he missed or didn't land flush, he'll work his way from there. But the fact that he was just able to do that.
And that he baited him into it too. He
baited him
kind of
into it.
sidestepped.
Yeah.
And then like fucking
Everything about that
dashed.
was perfect, and it deserves as much credit as McGregor got for, defeating that legend Jose Aldo because Ben Askren was undefeated,
Yeah.
I think with that mentality, the way he thinks, the way he trains, the way he reacts, and then being that much bigger, I think he has all the tools to beat McGregor. I certainly think McGregor can beat Jorge Masvidal, but I'd have my money on Jorge, similar to the way I had Nate beating McGregor.
Yeah, the thing with Conor McGregor versus Masvidal is that he definitely, I mean, I don't know. The Khabib fight is not a very big example of this, but I don't think that Conor has mastered a stamina issue.
Oh yeah, that too.
I don't think he's mastered a stamina issue, and I think somebody like Jorge is like the fight IQ and his camp and his personal fight IQ.
ATT's like fucking killing it
Killing
right,
it right
now.
now.
They got Amanda Nunes. They got fucking everybody.
They got
man.
everyone, and that's the thing is like, do you think that camp's not gonna let him say like, hey, shoot the shit with him, like go out there, entertain him, right? Fucking smile at him, take a couple of like really good hits at him, you know what I mean? But in the third round to fourth round, come out here and light that motherfucker up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Nate Diaz is like hitting Conor McGregor in the face and then pointing at him, and then like
Yeah.
coming back from that 3 out of 5, like the third to the fifth round, him doing that to him.
Yeah.
Dude, the guy runs triathlons.
Yeah.
Jorge Masvidal is not gonna not run triathlons and train to like fight into the 4th and 5th round.
Yeah, I think McGregor is sort of like Vitor in the sense that they're 3-minute fighters. They go hard for 3 minutes, and like 90% of the time they get it. But when they don't, that's when they face problems. Most of McGregor's wins are in the first round. Dustin Poirier was in the first round.
Dustin Poirier was in the first round. That's crazy.
Dennis, yeah, I know. So, I just think in the Nate Diaz second fight, he showed that he can, utilize
Can you pull up Paulo
his
Costa's
energy
last
in like
win?
spurts. He does it in spurts. That's what he was able to
That's
do
that guy
in the
right
5-round fight with Nate Diaz. But he fights in like 3-minute intervals where he goes hard. Stuff.
And the last thing, where talking about Paulo Costa versus Yoel Romero, I know we have holy shit, and Henrique.
Whatever happened with that PED thing that he had going on?
He had the thing where they questioned him on PEDs, but he never got caught for that. That was like damn, that's all wins. I didn't think he'd fucking lost a single fucking one. This is actually the most trusted sites for records.
Wasn't
and shit.
Uriah Hall kind of piecing him up a little bit there with like the
that?
jab?
Sure, dog.
Did Sherdog him? He had
Holy
Johnny
fuck, I didn't know
Johnny
he fought
Hendricks.
Johnny
Yeah, I
Hendricks.
didn't realize he fought Johnny Hendricks.
It was like probably when he was like on his way out.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know any of those people.
I don't know any of these people.
Wait, whose record are you looking up?
Paulo Costas.
Oh yeah, he beat the crap out of
That was like
Johnny Hendricks.
2017. Yeah, that was like
Ah man, that's not as crazy good. I mean, Uriah Hall's a motherfucker.
Uriah Hall was fucking piecing him up too. He was kind of throwing that jab. You
Oh
remember?
yeah,
He was landing that shit.
Right.
And you were
Hall
like
knocked him down actually.
and you were talking about the Israel Adesanya would like pose a way bigger threat to him.
Yeah, I wanted to see him fight Israel Adesanya. Yeah, actually, Paulo Costa, he doesn't have that many big name wins besides Johnny Hendricks and Uriah Hall, but he's finished every single fight, all of them by knockout except one submission, but no decisions. That's nuts. That's crazy. That says a lot.
Yeah, this guy's fucking going in. I don't know. I think I'm gonna fucking
Oh, sorry.
Yo Romero. He didn't remain as active as I would have wanted him to since this, and I feel like I think you have a young bull. Like I think you have like a Paulo Costa that's ready to come in here and ruin this dude. Yeah, we're gonna have to replace that one. Is ready to ruin this dude. I don't know. Yo Romero, what does he have after this?
Wrestling. Oh, I thought you were saying what does he
mean,
have to pose a threat?
If he loses one, he's gonna have to move up. I mean, can he make weight for this one?
He's on.
Yeah, but
he's
Yoel,
lost a couple times.
What happened? Where's his voice?
I'm gonna have to buy. Oh, nice. No.
Yeah, it just sucks ass. I'm just gonna hold it.
Cool.
Sweet.
What were you saying?
Anyway.
Yo Romero, like, I don't know if
Dude, he's only fought the best though. He has got losses, but Luke Rockhold, Robert Whitaker, Luke Rockhold he knocked out. Chris Weidman he knocked out.
Jacare Souza.
Jacare Souza,
he knocked out
Lyoto Machida.
Chris Weidman in a ridiculous fashion. When you throw a flying knee like that and then it actually like split someone's like head open to the point where he's bleeding all over the place, and that's like
Tim Kennedy.
Tim Kennedy,
bro.
yeah.
And the way, and I know the whole.
Tim Kennedy's a motherfucker too.
Yeah, dude, and also the way
fuck
he
him up there? I
wins,
didn't know
he wins. He could be losing. He could be down 2 rounds, and they're in the last round, and they're in the 4th minute, and Yoel still nice and slow, and boom, a flying knee. Like he doesn't get discouraged.
If he wins
it
this
doesn't
one,
matter when.
I want to see him fight Kelvin Gastelum.
Who, Yoel?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't, because
No.
I don't. I feel like Kelvin would get.
murked.
No,
wanna
not
see that
Merv,
fight
but
just to see it.
it's like I want to see it too, but it's just like.
Wait,
And
bring
I
up-
think
bring up
Kelvin
the
could
middleweight-
win, but
bring up the middleweight rankings real
Good
quick.
fight. I just like
Yeah.
it because of violence.
Middleweight rankings lie as what? So if you have Yo Romero, where is he ranked? Where is he? Oh, number 2.
A los dos,
Jesus
güey.
Christ. And he's
A los dos,
a los dos, pinche animal. Paulo Costa, right? He's fighting down. Fuck, man. I mean, that's the true mark of a champion. Can a guy who got defeated by Robert Whittaker 2 times, if Israel Adesanya wins, that's the fight to make before he moves up or down.
Yeah, I feel like Israel skipped through a bunch
Yeah.
of middleweights.
Yo Romero would, in my opinion, Yo Romero versus Israel Adesanya to
be a
fight
great
for the
fucking
title
fight.
would have been the best co-main event. I don't know if Israel can beat Robert or Yoel. Those are 2 fucking tanks at the top. Oh man, I mean it makes me quiver to feel like fucking Yo Romero wrestling that skinny ass dude down. But it's like it's just like it's not like a knock on Israel Adesanya's skill.
Yeah.
Like his striking is top level. Like I actually I'm a bigger fan of Israel Adesanya than I am of Yo Romero because of the way he's come up the rankings. But I mean, he's got a mouth on him. He's like
That's
I
not
don't-
gonna get
Yeah,
it.
you like his
Okay.
lips?
yeah,
You
that is-
like that shit?
that-
What that mouth do?
I just feel like he talks like he talks a bunch of shit. Like I don't know like that's another thing about Robert Whittaker. Like Robert Whittaker gets painted as like this super nice guy, but like Robert Whittaker never wanted that, and I think it's pointed out that
Amen.
he's like
Gonna get knocked the fuck out?
he's a motherfucker, right? So Israel Adesanya still has the biggest challenge to go after him. I feel like
I actually think Yoel could strike with Israel. I actually think he could lull him into some safety and then boom, come at him. Calvin head kicked. Calvin head kicked Israel Adesanya. That's just to show you how good Calvin's striking is. But that's to show you that just because Israel's this kickboxing type of guy, he got a head kicked by the shorter wrestler. So I think Yoel could lull Israel into something where Israel may be throwing something and Yoel may just be moving, and then leap in with
Fucking
something
flying
good.
knee, bro.
Yeah,
man, Chris
flying knee.
Weidman, what a fucking fall.
Flying
from-
Years
overhand left.
flying
flying
knee.
overhand
What a
right.
fall from gaze from Chris Weidman.
Give me the fucking boy.
Chris Weidman's been at the top, and then fucking from champion down to fucking 6 to have to fucking go up. That makes me feel weird about Chris Weidman because he knocked out fucking. I mean,
He was the man.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him fight Israel, but now I'm like, fuck, Israel.
what about Jared Cannonier fucking signing to fight? Who is he gonna fight?
The hell are you talking about, Jose?
Cannonier's gonna fight.
All
Did you ever look it up? Souza? No.
I'm like,
Brad Tavares is totally fucking this shit. I hate that.
All right. Well, yeah. Who's he fighting? I don't know. Can we look?
I
It
don't
up?
know.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah, hold that.
Oh, Henderson.
Okay.
He's fighting who?
oh yeah, Jack
Yeah.
Hermason
Oh,
or something.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I was skipping over 4 on that one. That's like
So- So who is he fighting?
Komamir versus Hemerson?
Yeah,
Hammermanson?
Hermanson.
Hemorrhaging.
Hemorrhaging.
Somebody's
Has it
hemorrhaging
in
from their
depth.
brain.
I don't know. Like, I mean, he just beat Anderson Silva, but it's like,
Jared Cannonier is a fucking killer, bro. But I don't know who Jack. I haven't even seen that guy. I think.
Jared Brunson's on his way out. I mean, I don't see him beating a lot more dudes at that. I don't think he's going to beat Paulo Costa. I don't think he's going to beat Weidman. Like, who's Derek Brunson going to hit? Like, nobody.
Yeah.
It's very sad. I don't know, that's sad, but I mean, like,
Alright.
the worst part about like Israel Adesanya talking shit to that guy is going out there talking shit to him and then beating his ass the way he said he was going to beat his ass.
Mm-hmm.
That was very detrimental to that dude's fucking career. And then Derek Brunson's like a good wrestler. Like, I really feel like put him up against Chris Weidman, he could fucking go to toe with Ronaldo Souza. It'll be a toss up.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this next fight is for him is like make it or break it, because he can only really fight Brandon Tavares after that, or that Carl's Jr. guy. Or was
Carl Jr. When? Right now?
I mean, that's a good fight for him, but it's like, oh come on, if that guy whips his ass, that's over. Bronson's done. Fuck, that sucks.
Yep.
Well,
Was that the end of the card?
that's gonna be the end of the card for that. I mean, let's look at the rest of the 241 card. What's on there?
I think that was it.
Your Romero, right? Anthony Pettis. Already
Is there anything on the preliminary? I can't. Now I
What?
can't talk.
Actually,
The
there-
preliminary
Run
cards.
me off on
There
me.
you go.
Here's the preliminary
Ref
cards.
Rafael Asunciao.
that's the bantamweight guy that's like in the top 10.
No,
Oh,
nothing too
yeah.
important. Oh, there we go. Oh, Devontae Smith's pretty good.
Yeah, Devontae Smith is good.
He throws that fire. He does that 1-2 so fucking fast.
Bermudez?
Yeah, no.
Not Dennis Bermudez.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like Mr.
Yeah,
Bermudez.
no,
Nah.
that's the guy
His
who
little
retired.
brother.
Is it his little brother?
No.
Oh, that's like the Sergio Pettis, Anthony Pettis.
I know.
That's like I always feel
Manny
like that's a
Bermudez.
pattern now. It's like, is it his little brother? No, it's not.
Runs in the family. All right, I think that's it.
I think that's it. You want to?
think
Let's
that's
cut it.
it.
So let's. This brings it to the end of the next Combat Libre, and we're probably gonna meet up in about a month for another round of picks and hits, and maybe a possible reaction
Picks
video
and
too.
hits and titty twists.
Tits. You should have said tits. Tits would have rhymed.
I think that's
No,
actually the
Big
best way we
tits
could have
and
gone with
tits,
that.
but, yeah.
But all right. So have a great night, and we'll see you again soon.
Wait, actually, hold on. For next week's show, we're probably going to be bringing up
There you go.
going into fights. The Art of Self-Defense movie
Yeah.
we had just watched. Where Dave, watch that movie.
Fuck are you talking about?
The art
It's
of
a
self-defense.
yeah, it's a movie called Art of Self-Defense.
Is it a comedy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it the one with the dude with the American flag pants?
No,
it's the
no,
guy
no.
with Aaron Jackson, the guy that played the Facebook guy. And
The guy who played as Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
In that Facebook
I
movie.
hate that guy. Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's
Fucking
a
hate him.
it's a phenomenal movie. But okay, but that's going backtracking. So Combat Libre, it seems like we're on schedule. We're just kind of keeping it like a 1 month thing.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, where we bring the whole stack of the shows together, or the
We'll see,
fights.
because we wanted to do the reaction to the fight, but I'm
UFC
not sure.
241 live
Yeah, that
August
would
be
15th.
pretty
Everyone loves it.
Yeah, we could
That's
do
where
that
we go
too.
from there, and
Badass.
possible more live reactions. I mean, depending on what's gonna be hidden. So,
Yeah.
I mean, after that, let's. I mean, we'll reconvene and we'll post when we post.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
See you guys next
One
week.
love.
Peace.
Peace.